township of Gaklo, somewhere in the Greater Accra region, is providing these services. I believe it's Jamestown in Accra. And so, yes, congratulations to you. Keep doing this good work for children of Ghana. Well, so that's the Spectator, and that's how the Spectator is looking like. Okay, so let's go on to the Mirror. The Mirror says that it is Ghana's most popular weekend paper, and it has a series of stories here. So the first story that I am looking at is Ho woman who bent these with pressing iron fined 600 Ghana cedis and compensates victim with 4,000 Ghana cedis. Story is on page 3 of the Mirror, and it talks about the fact that the woman who bent her 9-year-old niece repeatedly with a hot pressing iron in Ho sometime in May last year, Margaret Gaffa, has compensated the child with 4,000 Ghana cedis as part of her plea bargain before the Ho Magistrate Court 2. The plea bargain was brokered between the prosecution and defense by the Attorney General's Department and adopted by the court on the 21st of December 2023. Gaffa, who is in her early 60s, was also sentenced to a fine of 600 Ghana cedis on her own plea of guilt to physical abuse. And so that is the figure. 600 Ghana cedis fine may appear very little, but there's a 4,000 Ghana cedis compensation. So maybe we make do with that. Okay, so the other stories on the front page of the Mirror is business on social media more than dancing and shaking buttocks, and that is according to Patty the Strategist. So story is on page 6, and I tried reading that story before I came on the airwaves, and it talks about the fact that social media platforms have become popular sites for businesses to advertise their ware and services because of the increasing number of users across these platforms. On these platforms, particularly Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, a common marketing technique for business owners is to use models with appealing looks who dance, shake their buttocks, and catwalk to attract buyers. While these methods may attract more followers or create visibility for brands online, a business and marketing strategist, Patty Sagnol, says running profitable businesses online requires more than just numbers or going viral. Well, the rest of the details, page 6 of the Mirror, how you can use the social media to better advertise your business, is what the Patty the Strategist is talking about. Okay, so let's take a look at the Daily Graphic, the weekend special. And Daily Graphic says that it is the truth, it deals in truth and accuracy every day. Now, the lead story is here. Afoko pleads not guilty third time in 8 years. And if you are wondering which Afoko is this, story is on page 6 of the Daily Graphic. And you are talking about Gregory Afoko, who is standing trial for the murder of the former Upper East Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party. He's gone on trial 3 different occasions, and in all the occasions, he has pleaded not guilty. And the last time there was a trial, together with Aseke Alamdi, they were found guilty. So Aseke Alamdi was found guilty on conspiring to commit murder, was sentenced to death. He has appealed that sentence, but the trial for murder, the jury returned a verdict of 4-3 not guilty verdict, and because of that, the trial has had to start all over again. And the 2 of them are standing trial again for murder. A new jury has been constituted, and they have pleaded not guilty. So the trial process will continue on the 2nd of February this year for case management conference and all that. So that is the Gregory Afoko case. It is 8 years old already. The victim are still in custody, but there is no end to that particular murder case. Well, perhaps the most, I don't know whether to say disturbing or interesting, you can choose which one when I read the story, is that half Ghanaian women overweight. And that is a story by Augustina Teria, herself a lady. And she says that half of females in Ghana aged between 20 and 49 are either obese or overweight. the 2022 Ghana Demographic and Health Survey report has revealed. Specifically, 22% of the group, represented more than a 50 of them, are obese, while 28.2% of them are overweight. While 52.2% of females are obese or overweight, 20.7% of men are obese or overweight. In the context of males, 3.9% are obese and 16.8% of them are overweight. So I'm not going to continue reading this story because it's a sensitive matter. So if you find yourself in one of these categories, there are recommendations in this story as to what you can do to change your status from either obese or overweight. So if you grab a copy of the Daily Graphic, the story starts on page 1 and continues on page 5. And the story comes with a picture which is quite disturbing if you ask me, but that's the story, and you can grab a copy of the graphic and take a look at that. So there is also on the back page, crucial group clash with Mozambique, kudos to inspire Ghana win. And so Ghana is expected to play Mozambique in the ongoing African Cup after losing their first game to Cape Verde and drawing their second to Egypt. The third game against Mozambique is a must-win if the Black Stars wants to progress to the next stage. And so we wait to see what happens when that match is played. So that is how the graphic is looking like. The last paper I will take a look at is the Daily Guide. The Daily Guide has a lead story here. Nana calls for economic model for Africa, and Nana is the president of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. He was speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, and that's where he made the call. Things we do for love actor dies, and that the actor Vincent Macaulay is said to have passed on to eternity. May his soul rest in perfect peace. The lead story on the front page of the Daily Guide is meet 33 MPs going unopposed. And so the New Patriotic Party, a week from today, will be electing their parliamentary candidates in the constituencies where they have 7 MPs. But some 33 out of the 137 are going unopposed. And the Daily Guide has identified them. So there's John Kuma. John Kuma is Member of Parliament for Ejiso, I believe. There is Yao Osei Educhum. He's a Member of Parliament for Bosomtrim. There is Lydia Sairam Al-Hassan, Member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wogon. Alexander Fenyo Markins is Member of Parliament for Efutu, that is Winneba. There is Yusuf Mustafa. He is the current Minister for Youth and Sports. And I believe he's a Member of Parliament for Yakobo Kobori. And there are several others. So there's Dakua Newman, Ambrose Derry, John Abujinapo, Ambrose Derry for Nandom, Abujinapo for Damongo. Several others on page 3 where the story continues. So you have Dr. Benjamin Yeboah Sechere, Reverend John Intim Fojo, Alexander Jan Bright Baliji, Alex Tete, John Peter Amewu is a Member of Parliament, I believe, for Hohoi. Several of them are going unopposed. All 33 are captured here. Alassane Tampuri, all of them, Muhammad Amin Adam, Brian Champong, both of them ministers. One Minister of State at Finance Ministry, that is Muhammad Amin Adam, and Brian Champong, member of Parliament indeed, and also Minister for Food and Agriculture. There's Dominic Niteho, Paul Aprikuchum, Martin Ej Kosa, Frederick Obing Adom, Michael Ochre Befi. All of them are captured in the third page of the Daily Guide. The fact that they are all going unopposed. So that's how the newspapers are looking like. Behind the Daily Guide, you have Kudos expresses frustration after Egypt draw. And Kudos was the Black Stars player who scored the 2 goals against Egypt, and he is said to be frustrated how that the Black Stars drew in that game. Let's see what happens when the Black Stars play Mozambique in a few days. Okay, so this is how the newspapers are all looking like. We will take a quick breather when we are back. Okay, so when we are back, Okay, so yes, indeed. I have Dr. Ayerakwa, who is joining me via telephone, and we are starting our conversation today with the news that came up yesterday or last night, the fact that the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has approved Ghana's the release of Ghana's second tranche as far as our IMF extended credit facility is concerned. Dr. Hayford Mensah Ayerakwa is a development economist. He joins us over the telephone to have a quick conversation on that development. A very good morning to you, Dr. Ayerakwa.
Good morning, Wilberforce, and good morning to your cherished listeners and viewers on social media.
Indeed. Thank you very much, as always, for tuning in and staying in touch with us here on Asase Radio. So, quickly, if you would bring us your thoughts on the approval of the second tranche of this IMF deal. To what extent is it going to cushion the Ghanaian economy and the quest for recovery?
Well, thank you very much again. And I want to say a big congratulations to the country, Ghana, to all of us for achieving this milestone. The minister deserves commendation, of course, his team of directors and technical people who have been working around the clock and making sure that we have come this far. You know, if you look at what we subscribe to, we had no option but to go to the fund. And every other development partner or development partner that we have, including bilateral and multilateral, they have all been looking anxiously to see how Ghana fares in meeting the what we call the quantitative performance criteria. And these are specific indicators that have been agreed on as part of the recovery process, so that if you missed any of them, the likelihood was that you were going to miss out on receiving your tranche. And recall that in 2023, last quarter, the fund was in the country and went through the first review process, and have been waiting on a penal credit facility arrangement. And since we subscribe to this, and let me not take it too far from 2023, just the last half of 2023, Ghana has done extremely well. Let me give one indicator, which is inflation. After July 2023, our inflation rate was about 43.1%, and this was the best we had recorded in about 14 months prior to July 2023. And it went on a downward trajectory to about 40.1% in August, 35.2% in October, all the way to December, where we had 23.2%. This is highly commendable. And in fact, what numbers we're recording began to even exceed the fund's own target for us for the end of the year. And so it is extremely important. Once we have been able to go through this level, what this means is that there are other associated grants and funds that the government is supposed to receive, but they were never going to come in until the fund gives the green light to say that Ghana has satisfied the review, and so we are ready to disburse the second tranche to the country. And so it is a great news, and 600 million USD is coming in to cushion our country. And around this time, this is when a lot of currency instability comes in, because traders and business people need the money to be able to pay their creditors. And so there's a bit of pressure on the local currency. Even within the space, the Bank of Ghana and all the associated agencies have done extremely well in managing the cedi, so that depreciation of the cedi hasn't been free-falling as we have known it in the past. And again, we must always put things in context that prior to IMF, we were doing so well. If you look at 2017, 18, 19, Ghana was really a beacon, and until the external shocks came in. And so what is happening now is an opportunity to rebuild from where we started from. And it's not just inflation. You look at all the other indicators. For a very long time, in 2023, as of October, we had recorded a positive, we have recorded a surplus primary balance. Basically, that shows you the difference between the revenue a government is collecting and the expenditure government is making on the provision of public goods and services. And that is a good sign. What it means is that if we can keep our focus, for example, if you look at the 2024 budget that was presented, there are key things that is the focus. If you ask me, there's a focus on growth, that we want to ensure that we invest in strategic areas that can bring growth. And what this means is that it is these growth that would propel us to see the rippling effect in all the other parts or sectors of the economy. There is also a focus on currency stability, which is very important, and making sure that we remain within the defined macro quantitative performance indicators that we have. And of course, there's a focus on disinflation, that is making sure that we don't see the kind of hyperinflation we experienced in 2022 and early 2023. So it is a good news for Ghana, and I think that we need to all keep our hope alive and work together, because we will soon be out of the fund. But if we don't lay the right foundation, then once we are out of the fund, we may have problems. And so let's all continue to support government. Let's support the ministry and the policies they are putting in place, so that as a country, we'll be able to lay the right foundation for the growth we've been looking for.
Okay. So, Doc, I clearly hear you saying that the development, as it were, in we having the approval for the second tranche to be released is a good development. But beyond the fact that it's a good development, looking at where the economic recovery efforts of our country is right now, in what specific places should this new tranche, which is the $600 million coming in, be invested to ensure that we continue on the path of recovery?
Well, thank you. You know that this money is coming in to support government in its implementation, for example, of the 2024 budget. And so the budget is clear. The budget is clear on areas of growth. And government has made a lot of effort in supporting agribusiness, in supporting infrastructure. Even in the midst of this difficulty, there's still a lot of effort. And there are certain key, and I call them strategic infrastructure, strategic investment, that we should be interested in. There are certain roads that we should pay attention to, because they bring the economic turnaround, so that it can be able to generate the rippling effect, the trickling down effect that we want to see. And that is what government should be focusing on. Invest in areas that can generate growth, generate employment, that people can easily reproduce, or the monies you put in there can create additional resources to support the growth. You know, government's role, and we need to always keep this at the back of our mind, is to create an enabling environment for private sector to flourish. And so government cannot create all the employment we are clamoring for, but government can strategically invest in areas that support the private sector to be able to generate the kind of growth that we are looking for. That is how we can create a stable and the growth that we are looking forward to.
Okay, so I hear you clearly, but you know, some commentators have said that it took us a great deal of effort to be able to get to this point. Now, it was actually even projected that the second tranche agreements and negotiations that were going on with the external creditors should have been completed sometime in November or December last year. It didn't happen. It happened in January, and then on January 19th, we now secure this approval from the IMF. Now, going forward, there are still more tranches that are supposed to be released. From where you sit, is it to say that we are literally done with all the agreements that we need to reach to ensure that these tranches are released, or beyond this second tranche, there are still laid down criteria we have to meet before we get the third tranche released to Ghana and subsequently the remaining tranches onto the end of the program?
Yes, so I think we must clarify this point that the delay in the approval for the release of the second tranche was not because Ghana didn't do well. Ghana did extremely well in terms of the indicators that were agreed on, that were set. But the challenge was with the external creditors. You know, and you agree with me that if you are dealing with something like domestic bond, you are dealing with a group of people within your control, and it's very easy to engage. But when you are dealing with external creditors and you have to bring all of them to a table to agree on something, that can take a while. And there are countries that started this before us, and they are still struggling to come to an agreement to have the assurances to be able to move their programs forward. So we haven't crossed the important milestone. I think that the subsequent reviews should be pretty fluid, should be a little more straightforward and a bit more faster than we have experienced. And so I don't expect, from what I said, that the third tranche should bring us this long delay. I think that one important criteria, which was the most difficult part of all the conditions we had to satisfy, the most difficult part was to have an agreement with your external creditors. And we've been able to do that. I think the subsequent one should be quite straightforward.
Okay, so I hear you clearly. And maybe before I let you go, I need to find out from you, to what extent is this second tranche that Ghana is receiving going to influence the downward trend of inflation and also the issue about our exchange rate portfolio? You know, the business people are interested in the status of the exchange rates, especially the cedi to the dollar, which is the major trading currency. To what extent do you think this is going? Again, inflation, people have seen that inflation trend going down, but want it to continue so that we get to perhaps the single digit that we were a few years ago before we went on this dangerous path of having inflation increasing up to about 50-something%. So to what extent is these IMF program or these monies that we are receiving going to influence those two factors, inflation and also the exchange rate?
Yeah, so when it comes to exchange rate, perceptions matter a lot. And, you know, people would react based on perception. And the fact that we know that, we don't have foreign exchange in the country, you have the possibility that you are likely to travel in the future, and so you are in a hurry to go and get some, even when you don't need it. I think that this is reassuring that government of Ghana is receiving additional $600 million USD, and I know the World Bank, the African Development Bank, they all have some commitments. Once this has been approved, are all going to bring in their money. So there's going to be a bit of forex in the country, flow of forex into the country. And that should ease the pressure that ordinarily would be on the Bank of Ghana to supply forex to some of our business, private sector players. And again, one other important thing which government has done, which has also eased the pressure on our forex, has been the oil for gold arrangement, which ordinarily in the past we were doing about averagely $400 million to get oil into the country. But now, because of the oil for gold, that pressure is no more. And so that is really, these are some of the things that have been put in place to cushion the pressure that was on our local currency. So it's going to go a long way to stabilize. I don't expect inflation, the cedi to depreciate so much like we have seen in the past. No. the cedi is likely to have one of the best performances in recent years this year. And so I think this is going to be very helpful, both to businesses and all of us as a people. Now, regarding the inflation issues, yes, like I told you, one of the things I have read in the 2024 budget, the focus of it is that it's inflation. And because of this inflation, the effort is on government expenditure. Effort is on cutting down on unnecessary expenditure that can not bring the kind of growth that we are looking forward to. So I think government already has put something in place. They are doing something right, which is why we are seeing this kind of results. I want to encourage them that whatever they are doing that is giving us this sort of results, let us push it, because it has a direct impact on lives and livelihood. It has direct impact on transacting business and doing business. It has impact on cost of borrowing. And so once inflation, we are able to push to continue to have inflation to go down, what it means is that it will have effect on cost of doing business. And if cost of doing business is low, it means that the average person can easily get support from the financial sector and invest in their own businesses that can also support the overall growth agenda. So government is already doing something right, and this money is going to ease the pressure on the local currency, on the dollar that we have in the country, and it will support us in a long way, I think.
Okay, so Doc, and perhaps I think you made mention of it, but I know the finance minister, when he was speaking, did talk about the fact that now that the second tranche of the IMF support has been secured, it is also going to trigger some 550 million United States dollars coming from the World Bank, part of which is 300 million, is going to go into budgetary support, and then about 250 million going into the fund to support financial sector stability. And so these are, like you were saying, the consequence of the approval of the second tranche of the IMF support that Ghana is getting. I believe that is what you were trying to explain.
Absolutely. And it's not just the World Bank. There are several others who have some commitment, but subject to a favorable review from the IMF. And so this is a very good news. It's very good news to government. It's good news to the people of Ghana. I just want to encourage ourselves that if Ghana works, it works for all of us. And we need to all rally behind the government and the policies they have put in place so that we can together build the kind of country we all aspire to have for ourselves and for the next generation.
Dr. Ayirakwa, Dr. Hayford Mensah Ayirakwa, I really want to thank you for the courtesy of speaking with us and bringing us all these perspectives. So Dr. Hayford Mensah Ayirakwa is a development economist. He's a lecturer at the University of Ghana, and he joined us to bring his perspectives on the new development, which is the fact that the International Monetary Fund has approved the second tranche of Ghana's extended credit support. I think it's $3 billion support. The second tranche is coming in. There are more tranches to come, but this one really took us on some kind of a journey because of the agreements that we needed to reach with external creditors. When that agreement was reached, it has paved the way for IMF to do the needful. And according to the finance minister and according to Dr. Hayford, as we just heard, Dr. Hayford Ayirakwa, it's going to also trigger some support from other institutions such as the World Bank and others that will be coming up. So interesting development. Ms. Jantua is a member of the Convention People's Party, CPP, and he's a private legal practitioner. He joins us this morning as usual on the forum. Ms. Jantua, a very good morning to you and thank you for coming.
Good morning. People tend to forget that I'm also a businessman.
You are a businessman.
That is even where my strengths are.
Okay, so we should add that too.
You don't need to add it.
Okay.
I'm doing quite a lot of work on that scene with regards
in
to
oil and gas.
Oil and gas, but on the business side, trying to help SMEs, young businesses, to understand the situation we are in and how they can move forward in this current situation.
Okay, so thank you.
I'm the chairman of the non-agro sector at GEPA.
GEPA. Okay, I didn't know that one.
Yes.
Okay. So you are a big man.
I'm not a big man.
Okay.
I'm just using my experience to help others.
You are helping the system, and I think Ghana is grateful. All those who are receiving support from you, I believe, are all grateful.
We have to help the system put the partisan politics aside.
The other day, I was at a MIF program, Minerals and Incomes Fund program. You were part of the panel discussing how they can collaborate with civil society and all the others. I thought it was a very great discussion that day. Good. So indeed, I'm a witness to what you're talking about. I know it. Indeed. All right. So the IMF program, the second tranche is here. It looks like there's excitement in the corridors of power. Some economists like Dr. Hayford Ayiraka, we just spoke to, saying that it's a good development. From where you sit, what do you see?
Good morning to our listeners, and good morning to those watching us. I don't understand my other panelists. They don't come on time. Anyway.
They will come on time.
So we are trying to tell ourselves that we can do it, and that we need a headmaster standing at the door before we do it. Is that what we're trying to tell ourselves? That the Minister of Finance had it within him to do the rightful thing, but when the opportunity was there, he didn't do it. Is that what we're saying? Because you guys seem to be applauding him. You guys seem to be saying, well, he's done well. Where's the country now? Where do we stand now? This IMF money, is it not a loan? Are we not going to pay for it? And we are satisfying the conditionalities of IMF, aren't we? And in satisfying those conditionalities of IMF, isn't it the ordinary Ghanaian who is suffering? So my good, he's a professor, right?
Doctor.
He's a doctor. Indicated a drop in cost of production. Wilberforce, tell me, whenever has there been a drop in cost of production in this country? Tell me. When? So, for me, when new governments come in, some of these indices are what they should be looking at. The cost of production in this country is high. What is making cost of production in this country high? One of them is power, isn't it? Another is transportation, isn't it? Another is food, isn't it? Another is manpower, in terms of available manpower to do what we need to do. And the last bit of it is politics. It's politics. In terms of the deep partisanship that we have in this country. And I pray, I don't really mind whether it's Bawumia or whether it's Vice President Bawumia, whether it's President Mahama, whether it's Chermatin. I don't mind whoever comes, so far as what they are bringing on the table helps the ordinary Ghanaian. So far as, for me, that is the most important. You see, if things are working in the country, nobody cares what the president is doing. Go to Sweden today. Go to Norway today. They have an effective welfare system. Effective welfare system. And when they pay their taxes, they see what the taxes are doing in the country. And steadily, incomes rise. So people are comfortable. And that is the kind of thing I want to see here. This thing about, MPP are going to win, NDC are going to win, CPP are going to win. What is that? If they come in and they don't do what they're supposed to do, and that we need a headmaster to be standing at the door. Well, it's a good thing. The next tranche is coming in. How do we handle that next tranche? But you see, the dark side of this entire thing is the debt. The 5.4 billion that we owe our external creditors, has it not been extended in terms of payment to 2040? 16, 17 years from now? Has it not? When the finance minister, he went to Davos, didn't he? And he told Davos what? He briefed Davos the Ghanaian situation. Has he briefed us? Did he tell us first that, look, Ghanaians, this external debt thing we are doing, they have said that they are going to extend our payment schedule. And in extending that payment schedule, A, B, C, D, E is what we're going to go through. So businesses, because it's going to go right up to 2040, 16, 17 years from now, let's sit down and see how we level out industry.
But I think yesterday they did a briefing.
They had gone to announce it in Davos before coming to announce it to us.
Don't you think that the ministry's briefing is an ongoing matter? Because I see them releasing...
the essential things should be announced here first.
When you haven't gotten the agreement with your externals, you need to...
The moment you get the agreement with the externals, it's here you come first. The moment you get that agreement, it is here we come first, because in the long run, the ordinary citizen is carrying the load. It's carrying the load. So they owe it to us. Because let me ask you, who put them in power?
The people.
Are they not coming back to the people?
Certainly.
Are they not responsible to the people?
Certainly.
Are they more responsible to those who give them loans than the people?
No.
There you are. There you are.
But
the
point I wanted you to respond to is that, so they go to have negotiations. When they finish with the negotiations, they brief both the people of Ghana and the people that they don't need to brief the people that they had the agreement with, but after the agreement, the briefings that they do, is it not targeted at the people of Ghana? It's not targeted at the people.
I don't want them to go and brief people outside before coming to brief us. We are taking the brunt. We are taking the brunt. And really and truly, you see, the briefings that they are giving us, they are just giving us the briefings on the surface. They should give us the briefings underneath in terms of what it means. So, this is what is happening. This is what it means for business. This is what it means for the individual. So that we can do what? We can also adjust and understand. I don't see that. They just give surface briefings. Yes, we went to Davos, we went to here, we negotiated, But there are implications to what we have gone to negotiate.
So you're suggesting that at a go, they should be able to put out virtually all the information that surrounds it. Sometimes the explanation has been that at a sitting, at a briefing, you are not able to put out every detail, and that if anybody requires further and better particulars, there are sources where they can derive those further and better particulars.
The impact of the negotiations that have gone on, does it affect only a certain group of people? Does it? Does it affect only the middle class? Does it affect only businesses? Does it affect only academicians? No. It goes right down the chain. And so, to do this thing effectively, we should have put certain things in place where you can bring it right down to the ordinary man, even in local languages. You see, that is communication. Because finance minister say so people can be part and parcel of it, and that is one thing. And I won't only blame MPP. The governments of this Fourth Republic haven't been able to communicate effectively when we find ourselves in such a position, and we have found ourselves in such a position how many times? 18 times.
In terms of securing IMF programs.
It's IMF we are talking about.
Yes.
18 times. So, the World Bank said they are going to give us how much?
So, the finance minister in his communication said that with this latest agreement with the external creditors and then the subsequent approval by the IMF board, there's likely that they will get about some $550 million coming from the World Bank. There are other sources, according to Dr. Yerakwa.
Let's stick to what we know.
The 550 million.
Let's stick to what we know. So we have IMF money. We have World Bank money. IMF money, we have an idea of where it's going and what it's going to be used for. World Bank money, what is that going to be used for? Wait, I heard him say that. But what are the implications of that money? So we are getting X money from World Bank. The meaning of that X money we are getting from the World Bank means these are the implications. We'll have to pay this, we have to pay that. These are the type of interest we'll have to pay, over what duration. We need all that, and where that money is going to go to. Where that money is going to go to, that decision of where that money is going to go to should be shared with Ghanaians, and they need Ghanaian input. Look, we need to be able to create a system, a way where when we are in such situations, the communication is flowing. People understand to the barest minimum, because we have different types of media houses in this country. It's not a question of, okay, I've gone to negotiate, media come and sit there, and then you give a press conference, and the media can't ask the questions that they need to ask, because that press conference is only an hour. And so the Ministry of Information should be able to create booths where they are telling people in local languages what it means. IMF amaye sika, World Bank say omo amaye sika. Sika no omo de man. Sorry, I'm an Ashanti, so sorry for my account. World Bank first omo amaye sika. The sika no omo de man. Pim say. Pim say ni. Ya de be fight. Enso so ehun sunsanso no. Anyway, way. Say ni be so ehun sunsanso no. People understand. Do we get that? I'm not only blaming MPP. I'm blaming Fourth Republic. You put us in a certain situation, and now when we find some breathing space to resolve it, the communication stops.
Okay.
You're coming back to us for power, aren't you?
Yes.
You're coming back to us for power.
So I can assure you that people who have years on the ground and people who take decisions listen to this program. So probably they are listening to you and they will take a cue from.
It is not a question, Wilberforce, where we are today. I'll say it. Where we are today, the kind of partisanship that we were playing, it has to probably stop. I keep saying, so President Mahama will come. Yes. And they are not doing this right. How does it help the situation? How does it help the situation? Yes, you probably will say, but the government is not inviting us. And even when we talk, they don't listen. Fair enough. It's up to the people to put pressure on government. And it's up to a listening president, a listening leader, a leader who will say, this is what my people are saying. And my people come first before any other. So, okay, and I said this, probably some Ghanaians would not agree with me. Where we are, I would have loved, and I'll keep saying it, I won't stop saying it, I would have loved the situation. President Akufo-Addo's last term.
Last year in office.
Yeah, last year in office. Irrespective of the partisanship between parties. We call President Mahama, we call President Kufuor and himself. Three of them. They are the leaders, the immediate leaders who have passed. They lock themselves in a room. And they brainstorm ideas. For you see, they come and disturb.
Mr. Joshua,
they both walked in together. So I'm not sure whether they came in one car or they came in different cars, because that is his client and that is a lawyer.
I don't know who takes the decision of pairing the two of them together all the time. I don't know which producer takes that decision.
You see, typical example of what I'm talking about. Needs NDC. My sister is MPP. Do they not work together? And that is exactly what I'm talking about. That where we are today, we should be able, when we get into these types of crises, we should be able.
But one is cashing in on the other.
You see, that is the problem.
Okay.
Wait, who suffers? Isn't it Ghana? Is it not Ghana? So you are looking at who can say that, so it is my, but everybody can see that discussion and the results of that discussion has been able to move the country forward. That's the most important thing.
Okay.
Baby Ejinano.
Okay. So that's Mr. Jantua. Mr. Jantua is a businessman and a member of the Convention People's Party, a practicing lawyer And
I'm not practice. I don't practice.
You don't practice anymore. Okay, but he's a legal. He's a lawyer. Let's say that. Okay, so there's a message for you, and Nikwapo, welcome, and then Amadeko also welcome. There's a message from Mr. Jantwa by Chum Daku, who says that, good morning, Wilberforce. Please tell Mr. Jantwa that the press conference was done in Ghana and the media was given the opportunity to ask questions. For your information, the minister gave all the information about the deal. So he should just listen to the press conference before he chastises government. Essentially, that's what Chum Daku says.
Did he listen to the Davos, what do you call it?
So the Minister for Finance was attending the World Economic Forum together with the President.
Exactly. Did he listen?
So Chum is saying that some sort of a press conference has been done here in Ghana already about that. And so,
did Chum know that we had till 2040 to pay this debt?
I believe he does. So Chum Daku, thank you for your message, and for all others who are sending messages. Some are saying that somebody is even choosing to sell his credit here. Kevin, please stop selling your credit on our platform. Okay, send us a message about the discussions we are having, and we are minded to read it and to enrich the discussions. Okay, so before I go to my two other guests who have arrived, let's do this quickly. So the second edition of the highly anticipated Africa Prosperity Dialogues is some 5 days away from today. So Africa Prosperity Dialogues is the event at which African political and business leaders meet to discuss actionable and bankable decisions towards building an African single market. So Africa Prosperity Dialogues will take place from the 25th to the 27th of January 2024 at the Peduase Presidential Lodge, Ebri Hills, in the Eastern region. In the presence of several African heads of states and top business leaders, 10 exceptional African and global Africans will receive the prestigious African Prosperity Champions Awards for their contribution to Africa and global Africa prosperity at the Presidential Gala Dinner on the 26th of January at the Kempinski Hotel in Accra. So to register, you can go to events.africaprosperitynetwork.com. That again is events.africaprosperitynetwork.com, or reach the Africa Prosperity Network Secretariat at protocol@africaprosperity.net or .network, I should say. And by telephone, if you are English speaking, you can do +233 53 616 7567. If you are English speaking, again, +233 53 616 7567. And if you are French speaking, you can do +233 53 6098 325. And for French speaking, again, is +233 53 609 8325. So institutional partners are Africa Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat here in Accra, Africa Business Council, the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, United Nations Development Program Africa, and Africa American Institute, AII, the Africa Export-Import Bank, which is Afri-Exim Bank, United States Economic Forum for Africa, UNECA, Africa Soft Power, Oxford Business Group, Ghana Investment Promotion Center, GIPC. The sponsors are 3i Africa Summit 2024, Planet One MTN, KGL Group, Centio Group, West Coast, Tetraco, Deftraco, and ZPay. Africa Prosperity Dialogues 2024, delivering prosperity in Africa, produce, add value, and trade. Ama, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And thank you very much for coming. It's good to see you.
Happy New Year. I haven't seen you this year.
Yes, I don't think I've seen you this year. So Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you.
And Nick Bakpo Samoa Ado is a private legal practitioner, a lawyer in private practice. He is Amadeko's lawyer, and he is also a lecturer at the Gimpa Law Faculty. He tells me that he takes his lectureship very seriously, and he's going to be doing a PhD. You started a PhD already? He has started a PhD already. Okay, so congratulations to you. I hope you finish the PhD. Don't stop along the line. Go and do politics.
like me in law school.
Yes, you are also in law school now.
I've stopped it again. He's supposed to be my lecturer.
That is not good to hear.
Oh, I'll go back.
You have to go back.
After 2024 election.
In fact, after this discussion, we'll discuss that so that we get you to go back. You are at Gempa.
Yes.
We will get you to go back. No problem.
School of choice.
So I'm coming to the two of you to make comments quickly about the IMF second tranche that has come in, and then we'll move on to the next level of our conversation. Samuel Ofosu-Ban says that, good morning, Wilberforce and your panel. Today, I have loved the contribution of the CPP panel, perennial presidential candidate, Mr. Jantua. He should stay on such non-political lane, and we'll prefer that to. So I welcome Amma Ofosu and Nick Bakpo Samoa Ado. It's Ofosua. Yes, it's not Ofosu. Yes, so someone said Ofosu. It's not Ofosu. It's Ofosua. Okay, so we correct that. And please, Mr. Jantua, let's look forward about what should government have or not. We are at the IMF. Okay, so this message is not really put clearly. But the IMF, how? Okay, so I'll look at this way and then be able to read it better, because I don't like confusing my listeners when it comes to message. But Ni, I'll come to you first. Even though Amma is a female, I'll come to you first. IMF is releasing the second tranche to Ghana. The commentators are saying that it is a positive development for the country. And some are also saying that it is an election year. Maintaining fiscal discipline is extremely important in election years. And so they are suspecting that even though we have been able to meet the expectations of our external creditors and have secured this IMF program, because of the sheer lack of indiscipline in election years, we are likely to slip again. What are your thoughts?
I want to say a good morning to all your wonderful listeners. I want to say a very big thank you to Asase. They made my day on Tuesday by calling me to wish me a happy birthday.
Hey,
I want to thank all my friends, both on social media, personally, and all those colleagues who called and wished me a happy birthday. Yes, it was a mixed week. Monday, as you're well aware, I lost my sister, my elder sister.
Sorry.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Your colleagues who called me knew, so they first expressed their condolences, but still insisted that it is a birthday, and so I have to.
So you lost your sister on your birthday?
On the day before my birthday.
Okay.
You know, it's a very painful loss. It's my elder sister, very, very close sister. And again, I want to say thank you to all those who have reached out in these trying moments. It's not been an easy week.
May her soul rest in peace. We will actually come and support you at the funeral. We'll do everything possible.
Yes,
any arrangements?
Family is still, putting things together. And once things are through, I'll let definitely. This week has been a tips of. Black Stars gave me a bit of joy on Wednesday. I think it was a better performance, and at least it gave me some joy. Breathing space. So I want to say thank you to everybody who has reached out. I'm well. I'm doing well. I know your team thought I wouldn't come today. I said no. If you actually stop doing your routine, it depresses you more. So this is actually the thing that makes me, functional. Well, so the tone is going to be a bit measured these days, as I board, but I'll still speak my mind. So Dr. Babia will be spared small, but I'll be back after I put my sister to the ground. The economic situation. You see, this week the dollar inched up to about 12.7. If you were changing or, were transacting, it started climbing up. It was about 12.1, 12.2 at the beginning of the week. It started going up slowly. And it was quite alarming, The thing is this. Whatever monies we are getting is not a grant. That's the first thing that we must understand. It's not a grant. It is a loan. You understand? And as a loan, you would definitely have to repay back. The only thing is that you are getting a moratorium on the payment till I think 2026, right? It's 2026. That is when are we?
It starts 2026. It's
yes.
2026. But then it's been extended to
2028.
2040.
Yeah, so when are we paying?
We start 2026. That's when we start.
2020.
So we have a moratorium to 2026. Then the payments start.
Yes, and
But
so
then those payments have been stretched right up to 16, 17 years in terms of the tranches that we are going to pay.
Are you talking
That is
about the
five-
agreements that we've
is
reached with the
5.4
external creditors?
Yeah, the
Yes.
5.4 billion that we owe our creditors.
But in terms of the IMF program, it's actually commenced in 2023.
Yes.
And it's supposed to be a 3-year
yeah,
program.
3-year
So that
program.
ends on 2026.
Yes, but
that's what you are saying.
Yes, but
Okay.
bear in mind that the monies that we are getting for this IMF program would be on top of the 5.4 that we owe.
Sure.
So we need to know how
The 3 billion.
Yes,
Yes.
we need to know how that 3 billion is going to be paid.
Okay.
Communication.
All right.
yeah, so it is important that we look at these grants. Sorry, the loan arrangements, the release of the monies. We receive the news with skepticism. You understand that it is not free money. You understand, but it is welcome news because we need economic stability in order to navigate the turbulent waters that we are in. Because number one, we are facing a situation where our cedi is devaluing. We have inflation also that, yes, has gone down according to the official statistics, but then the food inflation and the impact on our purchasing power, you understand, it is key. And so anything that brings us some relief is welcome news. But you touch on a key point: fiscal discipline. Is the government able to maintain fiscal discipline in an election year? Is the government able to restrain itself in seeking to break the eight, you understand, from dealing, because the history is there. The COVID reports and what was done in 2020 is coming to bite us right now. The reckless spending in 2020, complete reckless spending by this government with the sole aim and purpose of simply winning an election. So then we recklessly and with careless abandon decided to rape the national resources and did whatever we liked with the COVID funds. No accountability whatsoever. And I'm very disappointed in Parliament because at the end of the day, we made so much noise about a bipartisan probe into the expenditure that was to be dealt with when it comes to the issue of the COVID funds. Till today, Mr. Speaker, where lies your COVID committee? Where is our report? You see, sometimes when these things happen, you find it difficult to attack my sister's party and its government because as an opposition, we made noise. We said that there was evidence of gross misapplication of public funds, almost to the levels of criminality, if not.
But part of the IMF condition was to have performed an audit, which was done independently.
Bosu.
But
there are reports.
you don't want to acknowledge that there's been an audit.
The audit report. The audit report is there. It has serious issues. That is why the parliamentary probe was supposed to take it to the next level. Give us, and we were promised. That's where I have a problem. There's been a fundamental failure on the part of our parliamentary leadership to give us accountability.
What is the next level that you could have taken it?
But of course, they would have had a public committee hearing. There was a bipartisan committee appointed. Till today. You understand? And so how do you say that? How do I point a finger at the government when I don't have the evidence?
Is that not to say that perhaps there is nothing to inquire? There was nothing. So they hit a snag.
That one I cannot fault you if you speculate in that direction. You have every right to speculate, and I'm sure my friend Amma, when she gets a 10, will tell me that this is another example of the NDC making a lot of noise. And then when we were asked to this, they will cite the minister's censure as another example. And look, sometimes our MPs disappoint us.
I think what Amma will say is that there's a difference between the noise making and then the putting out facts.
Wait and let her say it.
No, I'm just because of what he's saying.
So I'm here. Ask her what she
I know, but I'm just saying that Ni will perhaps maybe to be more about the noise making as against the facts.
It is well.
Mr. Jantua, it's very easy to make the noise.
It's called precursor.
Yes, it's very easy to make the noise. But when you are called upon to add facts to the noise, then you are caught in between the past and the future.
So
no, the audit report made some damning revelations. I don't think that anybody would say, especially with respect to the way food was allegedly cooked. There were no, but we beyond that we were expecting. You understand? Because then the people involved would have been called before the committee in front of the TV cameras, would have had clear. But it seems for some reasons, you know, when they say it's alleged that I don't know whether the probe would have jointly and severally put certain people in bad light, and so they decided that hell, let us do other things other than
abort mission,
you know. But I am happy that the government is on track, which we called for when it came to an IMF program, because it seems without an IMF program, all governments in this Fourth Republic have been indisciplined one way or the other. But that is why we should have, I still call for an economic summit, and I'm urging President Nana Akufo-Addo that maybe as part of his legacy, I mean, clearly his legacy on the economy is zero, but as he is outgoing, he should try to call for a national summit on the economy and come out with a blueprint, a development plan, whether 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, that we can put into legislation. And I always repeat, legislation that will have to take 2/3 to amend. When we have a binding document, I think we will have depoliticized our economy, because whenever we politicize our economy, we can't move forward. So it is welcome news. We just pray that this government will be disciplined in its application of the funds. It will not become another avenue for party apparatchiks, including women organizers and what have you, who will, after elections, tell us that this person received this amount, this person received this amount, this person, because it's like they treat it as free money. We pray that Amma will use her influence to tell our beloved Dr. Bawumia that as he's outgoing, he should ask somebody, as the saying went the last time, the meat is off the bone, right? Dumpe kakrana akano. You know the meat inside the dumpe. You should leave the meat inside. You know the one inside the dumpe. You should leave it for us, because right now Ghana's economic situation can be characterized to the meat is off. You know the bone. You know how when you lick the bone, chew the top. If it's a chicken, there's some small meat at the top of the bone. It's gone. The bone itself has been licked dry.
Maybe
right now, it is the inner marrow that is left.
Oh, the inner marrow is gone.
Okay. Maybe
that is the most nutritious part of the bone.
Maybe next time you should bring a piece of chicken so that you can demonstrate it.
The marrow is the most healthiest part of the bone.
We want to beg Dr. Bawumia that the one inside.
Why not President Akufo-Addo?
Oh, you know that President Akufo-Addo is outgoing. Nowadays, he says he's actually giving a report card of his tenure of office, telling you why he developed this place and didn't develop this place as he deserved to Ekufi. He told the people of Ekufi that he deliberately, I think it's shock you.
No, he didn't say that.
So what did he say?
He didn't say that.
No, wait. He said he had not appointed. You want to play it?
No,
Play it. If you challenge me on what I've said, then play the clip, because the president is on record to have told a portion of Ghana that the reason why he overlooked them for development or refused to give them development is that after appointing a son of their soil as a deputy minister, they refused to vote for his party. And this is not the first time the president is making such statements.
And the operative phrase there was "Nukroka."
Yeah. He told you, so he's giving a report. Now that he's giving a report card of what he, and he's clearly at the Accra Sports Stadium handed over his sword or whatever it is to Dr. Bawumia. Dr. Bawumia is obviously I told you today I'll be charitable with Dr. Bawumia.
So you agree that the president was speaking in Twi? You agree on that?
Oh yes, why?
Okay. So when you are translating Twi conversations to English,
why?
You have to be mindful.
Why?
No, I'm not holding brief for the president. I'm only saying that.
So translate it.
Translate it.
Yes.
So since we are not talking about the president.
Well, yeah, it should be one of the. In fact, this show should have a segment on any other matters so that we can also, as panelists, bring some of these issues to the fore.
Okay, let's bring our beautiful Amma into the conversation.
Yeah,
Amma,
she's looking beautiful.
Hey, that's why.
I give it to her. Today she's looking beautiful.
That's why.
Oh, why?
Easy to work.
So,
she's
Mr.
looking beautiful.
I've been able to figure out the message that George was sending to you. So, George Ampofo, he says that, please, Mr. Jantua, let's look forward about what should government have and not have. We are at IMF as a country to figure out how we can get out of the situation we are in economically. So he says that the constant dwelling on the past is needless. If Ghana works, it does for all Ghanaians. And that is George Ampofo's message.
Did I dwell on the past?
Oh, no. This is his message.
So the point is that you use the past to determine the future. If you don't know the past, and if you don't take the past into consideration, when you now are faced with challenges in the future, you don't know where to turn to.
Okay, so George, your message has been read and Mr. Jantua has responded. If you have anything to say, please say it and say it clearly. We'll read it. Amma, so your government has been able to meet the expectation of external creditors, and now the second tranche is coming. People say that fiscal discipline is going to be the most challenging for an election year such as we have 2024. From where you sit, what do you know? Is there going to be fiscal discipline? Is this 600 million going to be used properly?
Good morning to our viewers. Good morning to our listeners. I'm sure you're across almost all the regions of Ghana. So
yes.
Being listened to
yes, everywhere.
Ghana.
In fact, we have other stations such as Wale FM who are picking us in Wale and sending it all the way to Boga and all the others. We are also on ABC Television. So ABC Television is actually picking the forum live, and we acknowledge ABC Television for this. That's also nationwide. And so, yes, we are there.
I think we should know that so that some of us can share on our social media platforms. I didn't know ABC was picking you.
It does.
But that's good news. So good morning to everybody. And, of course, I bring you greetings from the campaign office of Dr. Bawumia and the next president of Ghana. As he has done and he continues to do, and as this government continues to do, and the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, promised Ghanaians from 2020 when COVID hit us that he will do everything in his power to make sure that we come back from the pit that we fell into. So this particular IMF money, let me put it that way, it's another step in the process. It's a long process. This particular one have been quite drawn out because we had to secure an agreement with our external creditors. And let's make a few issues clear. These are creditors that we owe since how many years ago? All of Ghana's debt from, I don't know whether we should pick from Dr. Nkrumah up till now. So these are people we owe. It's not the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo government that came to bring all this debt. This is Ghana's debt from independence. And we had to negotiate with the people. As I hear from Lawyer Jantua and everybody, right. So Ghana's debt from the Fourth Republic. We have to now negotiate and pay over 17 years. Yeah. So we would have to now sit down and actually see how we're going to pay our debt in the next 17 years. Do I expect the NPP to be in power for 17 years? Well, as an NPP member, yes, I would want that to happen. But of course, I'm not God, and anything can happen. So as Ghanaians, we all have to have a consensus. This is the 18th IMF program we are going on. Do we still want to continue this way? Yes, I agree that we had COVID. We had all manner of things hitting us. And so we had no choice but to go. Because before this, if you realize this government was very determined not to go back to the IMF until this disaster hit us. We should have a conversation in the next 17 years. What are we doing to make sure that we win ourselves off this And we don't have to go back for the 19th one and the 20th one. And we keep on repeating the cycle. Look, this money will come in. I can promise everybody listening and watching us that this government is going to use it well like we use the other one. This is the second tranche. And nowhere has it been reported that the first tranche wasn't used for what it was supposed to be used for. So I can bet you that the second tranche will be used for exactly what it's supposed to be used for. And this being an election year will not change anything. It will not change anything. We still have to survive as a country, election or not. So the money should be used right. But the questions we should be asking ourselves is, how do we want to go back through this again? Because we will be here again. Another disaster will hit us. We live in the world. Anything is possible. And then we'll have to go back and, everything, all the gains we have made will go back again. So what are we doing with ourselves for the next 17 years to make sure that when we clear this, we are not going to go back into any other IMF program or any other program? Because that is it. You keep on borrowing, you keep on borrowing. Your own people, your own industries will not do well. We have to accept that. But as for this tranche coming, it's a long, drawn-out process, and it's good that it has come. Ni was talking about what Dr. Bawumia should leave the bone marrow for them. I don't know the ones who said in 2016 that they have finished chewing the meat and it is left with the bone. Now your candidate is asking for honeymoon. We come there. He's asking for honeymoon. When is he going to start the 24-hour economy? After the honeymoon or before the honeymoon?
That is the next level of the discussion.
As for the NDC, they should stand aside and they should stand aside and let us see what we are doing with Ghana, because obviously they have no plan. They have no plan. So when somebody is already in the system and there's a plan going, we allow that person to follow through with a plan. This matter of all of a sudden, Dr. Bawumia should leave. Is Dr. Bawumia the president of Ghana? He's the vice president of Ghana. He's not the president. If you have any issue, you discuss it with the president. And then the about this whole IMF thing, we still have how many tranches more to go? We have about two more.
Or three or so. Yes, I'll get a confirmation from the producer, but we know that. So there was 6 months, another 6 months. They are all a total of 4 tranches or 5 tranches, but I stand to be corrected.
We still have more to go. I'm sure the Ministry of Finance and this government knows that if we do mess up the second one, the third one is not going to come, and the fourth one is not going to come. And in our current situation, we do need those monies to be able to pull our economy and get our things back right. So for me, they've done well. Let's stick to the plan. Let's focus. I mean, there's a focus to this. All the others are tangentials, and we can look at it. But focus. The focus is that we're getting the money, we are getting our economy back on track, and that is what it is.
Okay. So there is a Tekpo who says that, Wilberforce, please tell Dee that the meat on the bone was chewed by Mr. John Mahama, and he was bold to tell us during his last State of the Nation address. My special greetings to her ladyship, Amadeko, one woman soldier. So that is Lee Tekpo greeting Nick Papude.
Can I comment?
On this one?
Yes.
Okay.
And the marrow was sucked out by President Akufo-Addo.
Okay. That's according to Mr. Jantua. Okay, Nick, we'll come to the microphone because the next conversation, we are starting with you. We want to take a listen to the voice of the former President, John Mahama, who is also the... Okay, so yes, my producer is putting that voice together for me. It will be ready in 2 minutes or so. But the former President, John Dramani Mahama, is quoted to have said that if he looks at the situation the country is in from outside, he believes that when he gets the opportunity to become president, what he will see again, when he sees in the books, will be alarming. And so he would require a honeymoon. I don't know whether the choice of words, the word honeymoon, when you go to those people who went to lower 6 and upper 6, when you go to lower 6, they said there was something called sweet lower. When you go to sweet lower, you virtually do nothing. It's like you have come to school, there's nothing happening, no learning, you are just fraternizing. They call it sweet lower.
I didn't remember that.
Oh,
I'm sure. Never called it sweet lower.
Oh, okay, but I was told that there was something of that sort, sweet lower. Maybe that's what Mr. Mahama was looking for.
When you come in, you feel
okay. Maybe he's going to tell us whether that's what he was looking for, other than honeymoon, because honeymoon is more like enjoyment. So it's like honeymoon. The word honeymoon has nothing to do with work; it has to do with enjoyment. So Nee is going to explain that to us, what exactly the former president meant. And so once the voice is ready, we will bring you the voice of the former president, John Mahama. I want I want us to hear from the horse's own mouth.
But Wilberforce is a word we use here in politics. Every government comes in, honeymoon period. It's a word we use it. So it is nothing special.
So let's take a listen to the former president John Dramani Mahama speaking there and talking about the honeymoon episode.
And I'll plead with the teachers' unions, NATS and NAGRAT and UTAG and TEWU and all of them. I know all of you are clamoring for allowances, increase in your allowances and so on and so forth. Let me caution you that in 2025, inshallah, after we take over, we will show you the books and the finances of this country. And you realize the harm that the MPP administration has done to Ghana's economy. This country is broke. And so we would beg you that when we come into office, give us a bit of a honeymoon. Let's put things in place so that we can bring the economy back on its feet. And when we have done that, we can accede to your demands again. And that's why I'm being very measured in the promises that I make. Because we all know the crisis in which this country has been plunged.
Okay, so you had the former president of the Republic, Mr. John Mahama, speaking there and appealing to teachers and to teacher unions to give him a honeymoon space if he should win the presidency again from January 7th, 2025, to be able to let us know how the books are looking like and then to stabilize things before he can start meeting the expectations. Do I hear your presidential candidate saying that if you are looking for somebody who will do a quick fix of the economy, then look for somebody else, because I can't do a quick fix because the thing is so messed up that I can't do a quick fix. So look for somebody else, not me.
What we are saying is that we are drawing a distinction between the candidature of a person who promised 273 okay. All districts shall have $1 million. All the toilet situation in Ghana in all communities will be a thing of the past within 2 years. You know, a candidate, there's a distinction between, he's drawing a distinction between a candidate who promises heaven and the skies in order to win political power. And then after winning political power, the person literally shows you that he's not only super incompetent to run the economy, but he has no clue whatsoever about how to run an economy. You understand? There are two different things. When the person through lectures and symposiums and listing 60 questions or 20 questions or 30 questions postulates to the Ghanaian public that he is the next thing after Einstein and sliced bread and all the economic wizards that have come before, in order to give Ghana or transform Ghana's economy from what his presidential candidate said was the Gothisburg era, and he's taking us into the third
fourth industrial revolution.
People have said this in this country, you know. You see, one quote that President Mahama made, which a lot of people didn't understand and he took flag for, was a response he made to the statement of being called incompetent. And he said that, you know what, you haven't sat in the seat of being president before, and you talk and describe me as incompetent. I would take that criticism from people who have sat in that chair and know what it takes, the sacrifices one has to make, the loneliness of the decisions that one has to take in that seat. You understand? Where President Nana Addo understand closes at 1 a.m. You get me? You see, it is a very lonely seat, because literally every single decision is blamed on you. Light off, they said, is Mahama Dumso. Mahama is in the ECG office and he's putting the lights on and putting the lights off. Everything negative in this country is blamed on you. Your children suffer, your wife suffers. Yes, sometimes we say the nice things of the office, you understand, the fact that free travel, your relatives probably get access to government contracts and those things, make you feel that it's some form of compensation. But look, it is a very difficult place to be. So the experience is supposed to tone you down, you understand? And having been in that office before and having realized the kind of mess that our Moses, who promised to take Ghana to the promised land, and this one, it wasn't God that said he shouldn't enter the promised land. His own actions by way of mismanagement, the fact that there is blatant corruption in government, there is absolutely nothing working in this country. By his own actions, he has proven that he's incompetent. So clearly, what he wants to do is to draw a distinction between himself and the MPP candidate, Dr. Bawumia, by telling Ghanaians, and especially the TUC, because look, if you're a government, you need the cooperation of the unions in order to be able to have stability on the labor front to govern. He's telling them that naturally, once there's a change of government, there is expectation that things must, take off. Luckily, and the NDC has made it clear, we are not going to promise anything like the MPP. What we will do, and what he said in that statement, is that he will open the books for the entire country to see the true state of the Ghanaian economy. Because you see, I'm coming.
Yes,
when you are in government, you are able to massage figures and hide debt. You understand? But when somebody else comes in, he's able, remember the PPP era when Kufuor came in office and said that all the taxes he was imposing them because the NDC government in 2001 had left behind debt that needed to be what? To be paid for. When we come, we want to caution, because we do not want to create unrealistic and unachievable expectation in the eyes and ears of our comrades, Ghanaians. We want to tell the Ghanaian worker that when we come, number one, we have economic policies that we want to initiate to put the Ghanaian economy back on a sound footing. It will take time. So we beg you, you have expectations of salary increases, because obviously the devaluation in your purchasing power and all that is not, your salaries are not corresponding to the inflation rates, to the devaluation of the cedi, to all the economic problems that you are facing. So I am not going to promise you that when I come, I'm going to increase salaries by 30% or 40%. I want to beg you that the economy is on its knees. Ghana is broke to the extent that we are not able to pay our credit. If you are not able to pay your creditors, you are bankrupt. That is the definition of bankruptcy. Ghana is bankrupt, and we've had to reschedule our payments to our creditors in order to get some minute physical space to be able to breathe. Other than that, if we were meeting our debt obligations, the country will grind to a halt. So we want to beg you, the TUC, that give the government some space and time in order, that is the NDC, incoming NDC government, in order to put the economy on its right footing. Then, of course, we will address your legitimate wage expectations, because, yes, every worker, especially the public sector workers, there's a legitimate expectation and a constitutional right that when they work, the Constitution says they must be paid equitable wages for the work that they do. So that is the message that President Mahama is putting across.
So I hear you saying that an NDC government, in the event that it is elected into office,
correct,
needs time.
Oh, we need time.
Yes, but an MPP government doesn't need time.
MPP government that creates, let me quote Dr. Bawumia, that they deserve no credit. You understand? For creating a mess and want to be clapped for trying to solve it. They took us into the ditch. When they came into power, they inherited the cedi to the dollar at 4 cedis to the dollar. They can quote Ukraine, Russia. They can quote Israel and Palestine. They can quote, Afghanistan. They can quote anywhere. The fact remains that at the time President Mahama left office, the cedi to dollar was 4 cedis to a dollar. So at least if you leave office, it should either be the same or should be what? Lower. Today, the dollar is 12.7. I'm sure it is almost 13 to the dollar, 30 cedis to the dollar. That means that whatever you were paying for in 20 the price of goods and services. And the most easy way to identify this, look at cement, look at basic foods, milk, and all those things. What is the change in price?
So is that to suggest that if Mr. Mahama, in the event that he comes in 2025, and the CD to dollar rate is, let's say, at 12, by the time he's leaving office,
obviously he's expected not to go below that.
He will stay at 12 and not go down.
He should come and better. If you don't, it is very simple. You come for our daughter in marriage. At the time you came for our daughter, she was of a certain size, of a certain shape. You go, you say you don't like her again. You bring her back. You must at least bring her back, either improved or at least the same as you took her. We don't want a situation where you come back with a daughter looking disheveled, as if she's not eating for days. No, we don't want that.
But are the people of Ghana looking for somebody who will ask for or somebody who will make excuse and
that
give me time?
That is an honest leader. You see, today I said,
the people of Ghana.
I said, President, today the fire for Dr. Bawumia is lowered because I am in a money state. So don't push me to fire at the man the way I say I will fire today. Today I have to lay my start to rest. Then I gain back my firing mood. I'm saying that he is proven to be a practical leader. Let me even put the word honest and dishonest.
By asking for a honeymoon.
He's being practical because he has been there before. He knows the implications of making unrealistic promises simply to win. Look, we've learned a lesson, and I think everybody in this country, that's why I call for the depoliticization of the economy, because we all on this table will agree that no government, whether NDC or MPP, can change the structure of the Ghanaian economy in 4 years, even in 8 years. We are an import-driven economy. One of the major things we need to do is to look at our list of imports and create economic situations that allow us to turn that situation around. For example, we need an oil refinery to cut down the importation of finished products. It must be a conscious decision that we would build 2 or 3 oil refineries to turn around and to be a net exporter of finished products.
You mean finished oil products?
Finished oil products. Next issue is what? Indigenizing our, financial sector. Creating the atmosphere, restoring these licenses to, or even changing the management or whatever, but making it possible that it is a Ghanaian that leads the economic, the banking sector in this country, like Dr. Indu was doing. Put the money back into our system. Okay? Roads, our contractors. That's what I say. We need to, if we want to have a serious discussion on how to move this country's economy, we need to have a joint agreement between the parties that we are not going to politicize the economy. We will hold an economic summit. We will come out with a development plan. But as for this back and forth, only to win political power, he says, well, if that is the situation, all we are going to do is we are going into an election based on the policies that we have to try and change the Ghanaian economy and all that. I am not going to make any promises I know are unsustainable and unrealistic, unlike my opponents who have done so and have resulted in Ghana being where we are.
Okay, so Ampofo has a comment for you, and once you answer that, I'll come to Amap and then I'll come to Mr. Jantua. So Ampofo says that if the former president is saying that he has to come to government before he would know the reality of this country, that is unfortunate.
Why?
NDC has MPs in parliament where national budgets
are you the governor of the Bank of Ghana? I'm answering him. Are you the governor? The governor of the Bank of Ghana, the Ministry of Finance, you understand? Controller. They are the key players, and the Auditor General. They are the key players in the economy. They will know. If you look at our financial act that when there's a debt crisis, we are supposed to, the Bank of Ghana Act, it lists 3 key people. The governor, the Minister of Finance, and who? The controller, right? As the 3 people who, when there's a debt overrun, they must inform Parliament. When we go below 10% or so, Mr. Jantua will give me the exact figure. So clearly, you should know that if you are not in government, you will know. Because even companies are able to borrow on their books, and Parliament raises alarm. There's nothing that they can do. It is later on that we find out that these are now part of our national
Okay, so let me finish.
Extend your tenure of office. You understand? So you are in a better position. You have no election to win. So you have a bit more, and you have a legacy to create. So you are probably more motivated to reach out to your political adversaries in order to agree that at the end of the day, because of the unique challenges that you see, Ghana's economic challenges are unique. We need a structural change in the economy in order for us to kick and move the country.
Okay,
you understand?
So I understand. So Ama, let's take your thoughts now. The former president says he wants a honeymoon. He says that he's actually being honest with the people of Ghana. From where you sit, you see honesty or you see deception? I don't want to guess your answer.
Let me ask a few questions, and then we can move on with this honeymoon matter. Question number one: has Mr. Mahama been president before?
So he was a vice president from January 7th, 2009 till I think 24th July 2012, and became president then till 7th January 2017.
Okay. So I find it quite interesting when he comes to tell all of us that he has no idea what goes on the books of Ghana. You have pretended over this before. So if he is bold enough to tell all of us that the country is broke, and he says it without evidence, he says it confidently, then he should know what exactly is on our books. Well, he's been there before. He was just away 8 years ago. So he should have a huge idea on what happens. What Mr. Mahama should know about governance and the economy of this country, I have no idea. I don't know 1/100th of it, because I haven't been there before, as he said. So for him to come and tell us that, one, the country is broke, but he does not know what is going on in the finance sector. He doesn't know. So when he comes, that is, if Ghanaians decide to vote for him, we should give him a holiday, a honeymoon, for him to go and open the books for all. We all heard him. He said he's going to open the books for all of us to come and check. Me, I should come and check. What will I see? I didn't do finance. I don't understand. So we should spend time. You that already you have just 4 years. If he wins, he has 4 years by our constitution. We should give you time. So what? How he wants 1 year to be able to go, because to go through the books as he wants to go through all the 8 years that the MPP has been in power and everything, to go through it, I'm sure he will need more than a year before you decide, after going through the books, that now this is the situation. So this is what we will do. That one will be 1.5, 2 years gone. And then you have just 1 year to implement whatever it is that you haven't thought of to implement. The next year we are going for election, you are out. Obviously, Mr. Mahama is not prepared. He is not in any way prepared to come back to be president. Campaign stage, when you set up a campaign like we are doing now, you are supposed to propose alternative ideas. So the MPP says, we have done this, we have done this, we are doing this, we have done this. I think you guys are wrong. You haven't done it. And should Ghanaians vote for me, this is how I'm going to do it. That is what you do. But you do not come and tell us that we should give you time. Of all the people in this world to ask for time to manage Ghana, it's not Mr. Mahama. If ever Ghanaians make the mistake and vote for him to come back, Ghanaians will not give him 1 minute extra, because he's supposed to know. He's a returned president. He's been sitting home for 8 years. So all these 8 years, what has he been doing? All these 8 years that he has been criticizing this government, he's been all over the place. What are his policies? His alternate, what are they? He has none. Nothing. Zero. Zilch. And you tell us that we should give you time. Honeymoon. We have a whole year before 7th December. He should let us know what he wants to do. Nobody's going to give him any honeymoon. Did he give Mr. Akufo-Addo honeymoon before he started criticizing him when he came into power in 2017? Did he give anybody? Did the NDC give the MPP any honeymoon? I mean, if Dr. Bawumia is even asking for honeymoon, we would understand. After all, as Mr. Mahama said, he's not been president before. He's vice president, so he's now going to take over as president. So he needs time to also set up. But even Dr. Bawumia, nobody's giving Dr. Bawumia honeymoon because you are vice president. And we expect him, when Ghanaians vote for him, to continue straight up with what he wants to do. Not you who have sat home for 8 years. You had the opportunity to go through what you have done, correct your mistakes, and by now you should be telling us Ghanaians, after sitting home, looking at the Ghanaian economy, after being in a very peculiar position of a former president who has the opportunity to come back, this is what I think we should do. So you bring out a well thought out, a well set out plan. You send it to the TUC. You send it to this. If you can even try and convince some of us MPP people to join you. But the whole campaign is messed up. He has no idea of what he's saying. He's just gallivanting around saying things. Remember, he's just coming from last year, attacking free SHS all over the place, attacking teachers, attacking students, calling them, I don't want to use certain words, all manner of names, a policy that you actually sponsored adverts against. At the end of it, now he's telling us with the free SHS policy that Ghanaians will get better services under free SHS when he is in power. A policy you have no idea about, a policy you have criticized, a policy that has been on your mouth. You have been bastardizing it for 8 solid years. You come and tell us this.
But Nee is saying that Mr. Mahama is being honest with the people.
He's being honest about what?
About
He's being honest about the fact that he has no plan. You have 4 years, so I think we are forgetting that Mr. Mahama has just 4 years.
So there's a message here on Facebook, Isaac Dede Bamfo, who says that, hello, Wilberforce. Please, ex-President Mahama will have only 4 years in the event he is elected into office as president. Now that he is requesting for honeymoon, how much time would he be left with for him to accomplish his vision for Ghana? And he ends by saying, and that's Isaac Dede Bamfo's message. Isaac, thank you for your message. So I think Isaac's message supports the argument you are making.
Does Mr. Mahama have any vision for Ghana? As we sit now, what is Mr. Mahama's vision for Ghana that he wants to use the 4 years to do? What is it? You have been elected as the flag bearer of the NDC. We are going into almost 10 months now. 10 solid months. We still have no idea what you want to do. Now you've been shouting 24-hour economy. So what is he going to do? Is he going to, on the honeymoon before he starts the 24-hour economy, or after the honeymoon he will start? How is he start? That policy, 24-hour economy, does he even understand it himself? The last time he attempted explaining it, it was a mess. So how do we put the two together, the honeymoon period and the 24-hour economy? How is it going to move? What is it? After sitting home for 8 years, you have not been able to put your thoughts together. You have not been able to put a committee together to let us know your vision for Ghana. When you have just 4 years to finish, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. You have no vision. You have nothing. You go to trades conference. What is it? The unions, and go and tell them they should give you time. You are going to open the books for who and who. Obviously, as I said, and I'll repeat it again, Mr. Mahama has no idea what he wants to do. I see this as he sees the next 4 years as his retirement package. So obviously, he's told us that if we do vote for him, he will start his honeymoon with Auntie Lodin. I think they'll be doing renewal of vows at the Jubilee House, and then they will continue and end very nicely and move on. Because if you are asking for a honeymoon for a country that is coming out of an economic crisis, that we have things to do, and you are telling us that you've sat home for 8 years, you have not decided what you want to do, you have no idea what you want to do, and we should give you time, we should give you honeymoon. The only thing I can say is that you just want to take this as your retirement benefits. And Ghana, at the stage we are, with all due respect, we are not about to give our leaders any time to home, to rest. We are in a hurry. We want to get out of what we are, we want to develop, we want to go forward. We don't have time for a leader who has no idea what he wants to do, and he wants to come and rest before he does the work.
Okay, so Nee, I'm going to give you the chance to react before I come to Mr. Jantua. But let me just read some messages for you. So Maxwell Apia Dankwa says that John Mahama also took cedi to dollar from 1 cedi to 4 cedis, 25 pesos. So if today's exchange rate of cedi to dollar is 13 cedis by Nee's proposed calculation, it is still better than when JM left in percentage terms. Also,
logic.
cement prices was 8 cedis in January 2009 and left it at 32 cedis in January 2017, which is 300% increment. Can he tell us percentage? So can he tell us a percentage increment as from where they left it off and current prices? Okay, so that's the message coming from Maxwell. There's also a message from Lee, who says that this is the John Mahama we have known in the past, the same John Mahama today, someone who has said 4 years is not enough to turn things around, someone who has promised 24-hour economy. President Akufo-Addo said he was in a hurry. So this is clear. This clearly tells you that John Mahama has nothing to offer Ghanaians. He is gone bankrupt of ideas. The alternative is empty. So that is a message that is coming from Okay, so that's a message that is coming from Lee. There's a message from Kamal, and I find some of the things that Kamal has said not to be tasteful.
Okay.
So I'm not going to read, Kamal, your message. The reason why I'm choosing not to read it is because I don't think we want to use the platform to disrespect or attack anybody. If you want to make a comment about the former president, you can, but let's not attempt to insult whatsoever. I will not read that message. I elect not to do that. Okay, so there is another message from, there's another message. I think I saw a message from Bassett. It says, Mr. Mahama has the right to ask for some breathing space from Ghanaians. However, for the period of the honeymoon, no one in his government should get paid until the honeymoon is over.
That's a good one. You know,
okay, yes, please react and I'll come to Mr. Johnson.
Promised to cut down.
Okay, so the quick reaction, because we have some engagement on the telephone on this matter. Okay. They want to react. Let me take that reaction. Yes.
Doctor, there's a paper by one associate professor of economics at the University of Aberdeen Business School. Okay. It's called Dr. Yakubu Abdul Salam. And the paper is titled Evaluating the Impact of a 24-Hour Economy on Ghana's Economic Landscape, a Computable General Equilibrium Approach. I want all of us to take a read of it. I will send it to Amma, and she would be very educated that it is not guesswork. When we talk about the 24-hour economy, it's not as if, as the accounts will say, it is a scientific approach towards changing as much as possible the dynamics of our economy. And when we come to discussing the what do you call it, the policies, we are not yet discussing policies. This one was a request for a period to allow for the study of the books and all that. When we engage in the debate about the policies, we will look at the policy promises by Dr. Bawumia, check what he has been able to achieve, and ask ourselves whether this is somebody that if you had your company and you were asked to interview him as a CEO, you would even give him.
Okay, let me go to the telephone lines, and we have raised Dr. David Tenkran Chum. He is the General Secretary, Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, and he's going to be reacting to what the former president said. Dr. Tenkran Chum, good morning to you. Thank you very much for accepting to speak with us on the forum. I will. I'll come to you, Mr. Janswa.
First of all, let me establish that I'm not here to react to anything that somebody has said. Okay. I was called to comment on the statement.
On the statement?
Precisely.
Exactly. Okay, so maybe the choice of words I use. So we want to pick your comments on that appeal made by the former president. Is it something that those of you in the space that you are in are ready to accept?
All right, thank you. The point is that every government since independence have appealed to the citizens of Ghana to rally behind them and give them some breathing space at the time that they are sent to the throne. So what Mr. Mahama said is not something which is new to some of us. What I have said, and I continue to say, is that irrespective of whichever government is in power, we need to prioritize the health needs of the people of this country. We know now that the condition of service of nurses and midwives is in a very terrible position. It has never been good. So I'm looking out for policy decisions that will enhance the welfare of nurses and midwives in Ghana, irrespective of whichever government is in power. I indicated that we used to have a car waiver, which was removed by the previous administration. When we established a single spine, there was a component known as market premium. In 2015, a white paper was issued to abolish the single spine. What do you call the market premium? That did not happen because of change of government. So in 2013, the market premium was frozen. It wasn't removed. It wasn't cancelled. It was frozen. Hitherto, any time that salaries appreciate, the market premium will also inch up to checkmate inflation and other things. So nurses and midwives were better off until that happened in 2013. So I'm saying that any government, whether it's here now or yet to come, must come out with policy positions that will enhance the fortunes of our people. Nurses are living. What policy initiative is the current administration or the incoming government have? Our condition of service is abysmal, and that's the reason why they are leaving. I expect the government or anybody who is purporting to come and rule this country to provide and produce such initiatives that will make our people to remain and serve our citizens. Now, the politicians come and go, but the unions will remain. But oftentimes they will come and leave large on the taxpayers' money and expect labor to always tighten their belt. President Kufuor said we should buy the bullets. This person will tell, let's tighten our belts. So all the time, union leaders and their members should suffer while the politicians leave large on the taxpayers. And these are some of the challenges I have. As I speak with you, we have about 3 batches of nurses and midwives at home. They've not been employed. And nursing and midwifery are skill acquisition programs. Until you upskill the person or reskill the person, it means that whatever he or she has learned will be delayed. So I don't want to come into the politics of it, whether this government is better, that government is better. I'm saying that if Mr. Mahama wants us to rally behind him, then he has to bring that policy initiatives and decisions that will enhance the fortunes of nurses and midwives. The current government is owing about 9% of our pensions. These pensions are supposed to be invested. So, as far as I'm concerned, workers of this country are not prioritized, and they always treat us with, with disrespect and disdain. And these are some of the challenges that I have with his pronouncements. Okay. More so when he was even cautioning union leaders.
Mr. Tinkran, Dr. Tinkran, I don't know whether this is a direct quote of you, but there is this that I have chanced on, which says that, how did Mahama leave nurses and midwives? It's a question. If Mr. Mahama will run the country the way he did some years ago when he was president, then we won't yield to his honeymoon plea. If Mr. Mahama doesn't have anything better for us, then I think Mahama should advise himself. And this is something attributed to you, Dr. David Tinkran Chum, General Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Would this be a correct position to associate this with you as having been a quote from you?
No, it was said in context. And precisely so, if a government that froze my market premium, that made me worse. If a government that removed my car waiver is coming back and is not preferring new policy decisions that will improve my fortunes, but is telling me to give him a honeymoon, in that context, I have no regret at all for making that statement. You see, we should place premium on nurses and midwives. Just step out to a nearby country and you appreciate how much nurses and midwives are paid. We cannot be disrespected this way.
Okay, so Dr. Tinkran, I hear you clearly saying that you were mistreated in the past, and for you, looking forward, you want a government that will promise that they will treat you better than you have been treated in the past. That's what I hear you saying clearly.
Precisely.
Okay.
Before the 2020 elections, we met Mr. Mahama and the leadership of NDC at our national secretariat, and you made it clear to him that the president of the association, this is Rambo, made it clear to Mr. Mahama some of the policy decisions that affected nurses and midwives and continue to impact negatively on us. We were thinking that the current administration will even do better by maybe bringing back the car waiver, restoring our market premium to the current salary structure. It didn't happen. So if a next government is coming, or if a government or somebody in opposition is clamoring for Ghanaians to vote for him, I expect something better. I hope you understand me. Look, let me tell you that nurses and midwives in Ghana, and for that matter, health workers, do not even have free medical care. We take care of the good people of this country. We work in such infection-laden environment, yet when we fall sick, anything that falls outside the remit of health insurance, we have to pay. You work in rich hospital as a nurse or as a midwife, and when you are sick, and whatever treatment being given to you falls outside the remit of health insurance, you have to pay. What kind of life is that? Somebody works maybe in your establishment or electricity corporation or VRE, comes to hospital for you to take care of that person, and the person sends the bills to those organizations. Not only him, but his immediate family. Okay? Look, let's do this simple mathematics. Averagely, every nurse or a midwife in Ghana pays about 50 cedis a month towards the National Health Insurance Scheme, because 2.5% of our 18.5% insurance, okay, deductions are remitted to National Health Insurance. Now, annualize 50 Ghana cedis. It gives you 600 Ghana cedis a year. Meanwhile, the ordinary Ghanaian also pays 27 Ghana cedis to renew his insurance. Yet we are supposed to receive the same services under the National Health Insurance. Nurses and midwives stays with patients throughout their shift. So it presupposes that if there is any infectious disease, by virtue of the fact that you stay with the patient a bit much longer, you are in the position to attract that disease condition. We care less about the people that are taking care of us. These are some of the challenges that we have.
Okay, so Dr. Tinkran, I get it clearly, and it is, for me, I think that the most important point you have made today is the fact that nurses and midwives who work in hospitals go to the same hospital if they are not well, and if the cost of their care supersedes the target that is set in the national health, they have to pay for it. That is, for me, unacceptable. But your point has also been made about Mr. Mahama's plea and the fact that he made some decisions in the past that made you worse off, and so you will not accept a plea from him. You want someone who will come and promise you at least restoration of what you were enjoying before it was taken off by him. So it's very clear. Thank you very much, Dr. Tinkran, David Tinkran Chum, for speaking with Asase News and on the forum. We're coming to the studio, and I'm coming straight to Mr. Jantua because he hasn't had a time to speak on this matter. And then after that, we will talk about the issues of violence that has engulfed the National Democratic Congress, particularly in the north. So, Mr. Jantua, as I come to you, let me just get these messages out of the way. So there is Isaac who says that, what would you think of a doctor who tells a dying patient that he should be given some time or honeymoon to assess the sickness of the patient? Meanwhile, the same doctor was criticizing another doctor who was attending to the dying patient as incompetent and ignorant? And so that is a question that Isaac is asking. And I think it is an association with Mr. Mahama asking for honeymoon. He's saying that if a doctor is doing that to you, as far as your sickness is concerned, what would you say? Okay, so Eddie Mensah also comes in now, and he says that my disappointment goes to NDC. We all agree 4 years is not enough. So why didn't they get a new person instead of former President John Mahama? As for President Mahama, maybe because the Constitution allows him to come back, he thinks it's his it is his birthright to come back again. Okay, so that is Eddie Mensah's message. Samuel also comes and says, ex-President Mahama, second coming isn't well defined. His utterances expose some covert agenda. Ghanaians must be careful and wise. Okay, so that's the message coming from this was Samuel. Okay, so there's Benjamin who says that, good morning, Wilberforce. My question is, if Mahama ought to know the state of the economy only when he is in government, then my question is, how did he know the economy was in bad state so he would have to be accorded honeymoon? So you are asking that if he says that he wants to come into the government, he should know the state of the issues. If he says he has to come and look at the books before he knows the state, then there's a problem. He says that the thing is bad, but when he comes in, he will look at the books and expose what he says is bad. Okay, so there's Godfred, who says that is the 24. Okay, so I have so many messages, and as I start reading one, another one comes. So Godfred Gasso says that is the 24-hour economy just a slogan? That's a question. This is the way we do things in this part of the world and fail. On which foundation are we building the 24-hour economy? Are these businesses and factories that can engage people to produce for 24 hours, security, transportation, and the ability to employ, to pay people good wages for their services? I hope we are not talking about mobile money economy. Okay, so that's Godfrey's message. And then there's Kamaldeen, who is saying that, so he's apologizing. So senior, he's apologizing for his initial messages, and he's saying that all I was trying to say is that Mr. Mahama is seeking to waste the time of Ghanaians, because it is obvious he has no rational plan for the country. So come on, this message is readable and your message is very clear, and so I have done the needful by reading it. Stephen Reku also comes and says, no government in any serious country will give free insurance to medical professionals, including nurses. Wilberforce, please stop right there. Okay, so that's Stephen Reku's caution that no serious government will give insurance to medical professionals, including nurses. Mr. Jantua, it's your turn now, and I'm sorry for keeping you waiting for all this while. But Mr. Mahama's comment, is this something that is was well thought of, or from where you sit, you think that he could have said this in a better way? Yes, Mr. Jantua.
Me is distracting me. You know, Wilberforce.
Yes, please.
Let me state by saying.
Mr. Jantua, please go ahead. Ignore Nick Bakpo Samoa Ado.
Come to the mic and stop sitting at the back there. Wilberforce, let me start by saying, no government who comes into power has an automatic 8 years. Every government has 4 years. And a typical example was 2016. So it shouldn't look as if any government that comes in has 8 years. They don't. Every government has 4 years. How they handle those 4 years is up to them, and how they hope to move the country forward in the 4 years. Now to President Mahama's statement. Look, anybody, especially where the country is today, anybody who takes over in 2025 and the prelude to 2025 should be careful with your utterances. At this stage, we are not ready to joke. Nobody is ready to joke. When President Akufo-Addo came in 2016-2017, what did he say? He said he was in a hurry, right? Where has that ended us? Where has it ended us? Have we gone back to what he came to meet? You should be very mindful. I would have preferred. And let me read the bit of President Mahama's statement. He says, and I quote, "I will plead with the teachers' union, NAT, NAGRAT, UTAG, and TEU, and all of them I know all of you are clamoring for allowances." What does that mean? Clamoring for allowances. The recent strike by the lecturers, wasn't it based on agreed consultations? Wasn't it? With wages and salaries? So it was based on the agreed conclusions they came to, which haven't been met. That they say, if you don't meet it, then what are we going to do? They are going on strike. So you can't say they are clamoring. You can't use those words. They are clamoring. I would have preferred President Mahama to say, at the state of where the country is, once I come in 2025, I'm ready to work with the unions to try and resolve the challenges. And in resolving those challenges, I'm going to make sure that there is transparency, there is accountability, and there is communication. And what is the transparency, accountability, and communication? You said you're going to open the books. Open the books with the unions and stakeholders. So I'll open the books, but in opening those books, we are all going to sit around the table to assess what is there. And remember, it's not a question of always negativity, which we've done in this Fourth Republic. I said here last week, no government comes into power to do bad. Every government comes into power with the intention of doing good. And so, there are things that you do good and there are things that you do bad. But we tend to reflect the bad than the good. I would prefer any president that comes in, and this question about he's been there before and he hasn't been there before, and who. So, he's been there before, so he knows. And at the present moment, because he says he's been there before, he would have the knowledge to handle the issues. On Bawumia's side, he hasn't been there before, right? He hasn't been there before.
He's been vice president.
But he hasn't been there before.
He hasn't been president.
So he will come and learn. What's the difference? Tell me what the difference is. One has been there, he says he needs honeymoon. One hasn't been there, he's coming to learn. Isn't it all the time?
Dr. Bawumia hasn't said that he is coming to learn. So we cannot attribute that to him.
What did he say? When we tried to tag him with the challenges, what did he say? He said he's not president.
But he's not.
So then what I'm saying is right.
No, but so if you say he says he's coming to learn, then that is where we cannot attribute that to him as having said that. No. He says, I've not been president. I want to be president.
The perception is that what is going to happen. If he says, I wasn't president, so you can't tag me with it. You are part and parcel of the presidency. You sit with the president, if for nothing at all, if nobody can sit one-to-one with the president, you can. And you are aware of the situation of the country. You are aware. You've brought us some policies that you have championed. Digitalization is one of them. Gold for oil is another of them. You are aware. So don't try and cut yourself out of it. Show the solutions. And I would have loved President Mahama to show that he's ready to move. I'll work with TEU. I'll work with NAGRAT. I'll work with all these unions.
Not to ask for honeymoon.
We don't need a honeymoon. Where the country is today, we don't need a honeymoon. We have debts to pay in 2040, all through. We don't need no honeymoon. Especially when you've been there before. I don't think there's a honeymoon. I think it's a working relationship. A working relationship that shows transparency. A working relationship that shows accountability. A working relationship, above all, that shows communication. Open up. Talk to us. Bring Ghanaians first. And tell us, what are some of the things you would do, if for nothing at all, to reduce the burden of cost in this country? Tell us.
Do you think that asking for a honeymoon demonstrates on seriousness?
I think it's unwarranted. I didn't expect President Mahama to say that, especially because he's been there before, especially because he understands the mechanics of working as a president. I didn't expect that. I expected working relationships with all the different stakeholders. So you tell us, when I come in 2025, I have asked for a national discussion on the economy. I will start from there, and I will use the unions to start with it. So the unions will come. This is what was agreed. And President Mahama, if he does come back, this is what we're telling you. We are not going to say that what was agreed wasn't in your term, so you are not going to take it. We are sticking to what was agreed because there's something called perpetual succession in governance. So whatever the previous government did, you have to follow it through. And so let's sit and discuss. Once we know what the state of the economy is, if you say you are going to expose, then we can now say that, okay, you've agreed this, we are prepared to do Y, we are prepared to do X. We are prepared to, okay, leave it for a certain duration, we are prepared to do. But remember, as we leave it, interest is accruing, and we expect you to pay interest on whatever is agreed. Let's have the discussion. I'm for the national discussion. I've said it. Before Ni came, I said it. We need that national discussion. We need that national discourse. We need to put the country in a certain trajectory. Important trajectory because of where we are. Because it would be a shame, when do we come out of IMF?
So the last one we're in.
No, this one.
This one is 2026.
2026.
Is it 2026? 2026. Yes. So it started in 2023.
Yes.
So 2023 is a 3-year program, 23, yes. 24, 25. So by the end of 25.
By the end of 25. Yes. It will be a shame, 26, if we go back. If we go back to the challenges that we've been through. Because 2017, we were on IMF. 2020, we went back.
So
we've gone back.
2015. The Mahama government went
2015. And it was extended to 2019.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. But we're in IMF. Unfortunately, we weren't able to handle it. We've gone back. So, 2025, it comes to an end. If we don't take care and we are not careful, we might go back. So, some of the things I would want President Mahama and any other one who is standing for president to address is, and I expected the finance minister to have addressed it in 2017, but he didn't. What do we do so that we don't go through this again?
So I think that the finance ministry would disagree with you on that. At least some of the communications that I've heard, they are saying that 2017 to 2020, they addressed some of these issues. The economy was on the path of growth until the COVID-19 pandemic came. Messed things up.
Please, we were under IMF. We were under IMF.
Yes, but
this money that you're talking about, this money that you're talking about, we are going into an election. The money is coming. There's no way they can misappropriate the money because there is a policeman standing in the Bank of Ghana. There is a policeman standing at the Ministry of Finance watching how you spend that money. So it won't happen. It's when we are not watched that we go into the kind of defaults we go into. But we should be able to learn that once we come out of this, how we handle the economy is key. And one of the major things is exchange rate and demand on the exchange rate. This is one of the things we should do. And it was fantastic. When Nana Akufo-Addo came in, President Akufo-Addo came in 2017 or 2016, when they said, we would concentrate on added value to make sure that we raise our exports. And once we raise our exports, it brings more foreign exchange into the economy. So it balances our city, it makes our city strong. For me, I believe that any government coming in 2025 onwards, we should look at those commodities that have a high rate of return. That is why it is key for us to to solve Galamsey. Look, a lot of commodities, their prices are going up and down. Check gold. Gold.
It's falling considerably.
Check gold.
Yes.
But when gold falls, it doesn't fall to over 20%. It's always within that bracket. And gold is a commodity that has a high demand. We have it in abundance in this country. Abundance. We should look at it. And I expect the flag bearers and those who are standing for election to tell us how are you going to make sure that after we come out of IMF, the economy will still stand? And the snippets of it are seen today. Food inflation, transportation, fuel. Some of these things are staring at us in the face. How would you handle it after IMF? Because IMF, what is it doing? It's cushioning us, isn't it? It's bringing money into the economy to cushion us, isn't it? And once that cushion is taken away, can we be able to handle the economy well?
Mr. Jantua, there's George Ampofo who's asking you a question. Mr. Jantua, President Akufo-Addo said he is in a hurry in 2017, and it brought us free SHS in 2017. So he's saying that I should ask you to stop being something. I don't want to use that word because that word is not friendly. You are talking to a grandfather, so don't use that word.
I'm not a grandfather. He can use whatever word he wants to use.
That's right. But that's a problem. And then he also says that JDM asking for honeymoon, Wilberforce. You remember when MPP came to take over from NDC? One contribution of workers was in arrears. Tier 1 contribution of workers was in arrears for over 24 months. You cannot deceive Ghanaians again. JDM, that Anwa, and that is Ampofu again.
Wilberforce.
Okay, that's what, just finish with your point.
Wilberforce. Free SHS. Free SHS. Is it working to the max? Would we say it is working to the max? It's gone a certain distance. Is it working to the max? We've had free SHS for how many years now? 8 years.
I think it's in its 8th year. It started in 2017.
8 years. Wouldn't you have thought within 8 years you would have been able to at least clear schools under trees to the minimum?
Schools under trees are not secondary schools. They are basic.
Whatever the case is. Whatever the case is, that is what you should even be looking at. That is what you should be looking at. You have brought in free SHS. Those who come from those basic education, they go into free SHS, don't you? Don't they? And you are not looking at that. You segregated. You should have a long-term plan where education is concerned.
But I think the Minister for Education has, in time past, put up a program that is being implemented to eradicate schools under trees. I think there's an ongoing program. I stand to be corrected, but the last time I recall anything about schools under trees, I was told that there's a program that is being implemented and gradually it is phasing out schools under trees.
Yes. Has not only got to do with schools under trees. Schools under trees has also got to do with infrastructure.
Yes.
Go and look at it.
I think that is what it has to do with.
Go and look at it.
Yes.
Go and look at it. And for me, if the Akufo-Addo government took education as, their flagship, it is their flagship.
Has it not been their flagship program?
Well, I say it is their flagship.
Yes.
It is their flagship. You don't look at a certain segment part and leave the others. You look at the whole value chain.
Value chain, okay.
Entire value chain.
Indeed. So we are taking a quick break, and after the break, if Nee wants to do a reaction, I'll give him the opportunity, and then also Amma, and then we'll talk about the issues of violence that has happened up in the NDC before we end our program today. So you are on Asase Radio. It is 99.5 here in Accra. It is 100.3 in Cape Coast, 98.5 in Kumasi, and 99.7 in Tamale. And then we have a host of affiliate stations from Wali FM to Azay FM and all the other platforms. Also ABC Television, all of them picking this program live. Please stay tuned. Just a quick breather. We are back to continue with the forum for the next 30 minutes. We are going to be discussing the NDC and issues of violence that have reared its head in the northern region. My name is Wilberforce. Please stay tuned. We are back.
Hello, Linda. You won't believe what I am planning next. I want to start my postgraduate degree, buy a car, and build my dream home. But you know what's stopping me?
What's that, Mike?
Money, oh. That be my biggest wahala.
Oh, you are sorted, Kra. With a GCB Big Move personal loan promo, you can borrow up to a whopping 400,000 Ghana cedis at a significantly reduced interest rate in less than 24 hours.
Like, seriously? How do I qualify?
Yes, it's available to all GCB salary account holders. Plus, you get a 2-month grace period before you start to pay back.
Susket, I'm opening an account with GCB now.
Get a personal loan of up to 400,000.
All right, so let me welcome you back to the forum here on Asasi Radio at 99.5 in Accra, 100.3 Cape Coast, 98.5 in Kumasi, and 99.7 in Tamale. Now, my name is Wilberforce Asare. I'm your host for today. So there's a happy birthday message to Anita Akperi. She's the CEO of Genita Catering Services. So happy birthday to you. Fantastic happy birthday to you from Nana Kwame. And also happy birthday to Gloria Amedome. It's also your birthday today. Happy birthday to you also from Nana Kwame. We wish you a very good happy birthday and enjoy your day. Okay, so let's come to Nick Papo now. Nick Papo is sitting very far away from the microphone. I'm getting him to come closer to the microphone. So we are going to the northern region because the NDC's northern region is boiling. And Nick Papo earlier on said that is not true off air. So let's hear from him on air why it is not true. But there's a message from Tepo Wilberforce. What is the real meaning of honeymoon? According to Oxford Dictionary, it is time for couples to become sexually intimate, spending time to relax, creating a shared memorable experience for the couple and adjusting to marriage life. So someone who has been president before, what's all this honeymoon for? Just to come and relax and get paid? John Mahama, you have had an honeymoon before. Ghanaians should dump John Mahama and his NDC into the bin. John Mahama, never again. Nothing has changed. So that is Lee's message on the honeymoon.
This term in this Fourth Republic all the time.
Okay,
it's something we use.
So
it's become a political. What do you call it?
I am only reading the messages that my viewers and listeners are sending, and so I've read it. So what is happening in the MPP in the NDC in the northern region?
The MPP.
No, it's the NDC.
Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaking.
The MPP in the north.
What is happening with the NDC in the north?
Well, our National Functional Executive Committee has issued a statement on the matter. I'm sure you've seen a copy.
Yes.
You've not read it. Why? For whatever reason. I don't know why you didn't read it.
I haven't read it.
Yes, you haven't read it. You have not read it.
I've read it.
If I read it out to
oh, no, you mean we haven't read it on the show?
Yeah,
Okay,
read
okay,
it.
okay.
Read it.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll find it and read it. But go on with your comments. Yes.
You understand? So, our Functional Executive Committee has been seized with the facts surrounding an alleged assault on one of our executives in the north, a lady. The matter had been reported to the police. I believe that investigations will be carried out. The party has assured that beyond whatever the police will do, disciplinary action will be taken against anybody who was involved in this matter after a report is received, which is the normal thing. I mean, you just don't jump up at the national level and go into a constituency or a region without allowing the structures of the party to report upwards. So whatever happened will be delved into. Let me take the opportunity to dispel.
What was the cause of it? Anyway?
Well, there was a meeting. That's why I said that the reports will come. So you all must be careful not to jump the gun. We've seen pictures of the lady who alleges that during a meeting, one of the Northern Regional executives assaulted her, and she's gone to the police and made a criminal complaint. So we
are told that there were two different meetings.
It is not true.
It was a single meeting. The one Asiedun Ketia attended.
It is not true.
Okay, so what is it?
The mischief that is being tried to be associated with our national chairman is simply not true. Our national chairman was not at any meeting. Our national chairman has not been assaulted. It will be our national chairman actually enjoys the biggest number of votes when it comes to any individual executive at the national level in any election that he has contested in this country. He is the most popular politician in the party aside the presidential candidate, President Mahama. Mr. Asiedun Ketia's popularity and ambience and the support he enjoys individually in the party is unmatched. You saw it in the last, if you were at the stadium. You understand? So
reports that he was whisked away
is completely
not
false.
True. Okay.
He wasn't up north. Nothing happened.
Nothing happened. He's issued a statement.
Okay.
The statement has been categorical.
But what didn't you have a reporter in there?
We did. We also so we had reports. Yes, we had reports that he attended a meeting where he was taking.
Did your reporter ever say that he saw Mr. Asedun Ketia being whisked out of any meeting? That reporter will be lying. I would challenge any reporter who saw or who alleges that he saw Mr. Asedun Ketia being whisked away from any meeting in any manner, shape, or form. He has issued a statement. The person who was assaulted allegedly was a lady, and she has made the report because it seems to be a personal issue between them. And this one is all over the place. After all, in the last MPP election, did we see somebody's eyes bulging? One agent, did we see his eyes bulging out? So what is the big deal? That assault in or alleged assaults or alleged fracas between politicians. My very good friend, I don't want to remind him, Mr. Bisu. He was beaten to pulp. His eye was oozing out. We have the pictures. So in intra-party disputes is nothing new. What is important is that what is the response of the party? Do you look on unconcerned, or you break the disciplinary weight of the party on such actions so that you dissuade future persons from ever thinking that the political party business or political party work can metamorphosize into opportunity to assault not less women for that matter? So if it is true that the woman was assaulted, it is condemnable. The party has taken a clear position on the matter. I hope that the police will also take criminal action and ensure that the person is prosecuted. Already our women are vulnerable in politics, and so we should not have a situation where they will feel that physically they are not safe in the political space. But anyone who tries to associate the name of our national chairman in these matters is a big liar. Our national chairman has not been assaulted at any point in time.
Okay, so you need a statement that I have seen.
Yes,
is a letter that is suspending one Alhaji Hamid Bewa.
No, that does not. Well, read. Is it so there was one that was issued specifically to address the issues out in the media.
Okay, so I'll entreat my producer to get that from me. But what I have here is suspension of Alhaji Hamid Bewa. It says that at its meeting on the 16th of January 2024, to which your regional chairman and regional secretary were invited, the functional executive committee was briefed about your assault on the Northern Region Treasurer. At the end of its deliberations, the following decisions were taken in accordance with Article 48.1, 48.6, and 48A(b) of the party's constitution. A, that with immediate effect, your membership of the NDC is suspended. B, that your suspension has been referred to the National Disciplinary Committee for adjudication. You are therefore, by this letter, to take note, and notice is hereby given that your membership of the NDC is suspended pending the hearing and final determination of the matter. Signed, Fifi Kwete, General Secretary, copy to the regional chairman, NDC Northern Region,
so this
and
is
chairman, National Disciplinary Committee.
This is subsequent to that particular letter. I hope they find it. I was looking for it on my phone. I couldn't find it.
Okay.
But there was one that was issued, and that addressed the allegations that the national chairman was assaulted in that particular meeting. And then there was a promise that follow-up action. So this is the follow-up action that has been taken. And clearly that is in consonance with party disciplinary work.
Okay, so you finished with your point?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, so let me come to Amma. Amma, there's some. Okay, let me ask Nii this before I come to Amma. There is some claims that because of the change of Haruna Idrisu as the minority leader from the north. No, let me finish my question.
Let me stop you there. Haruna today, together with President Mahama and our national executive, are integrated at a funeral of one of our stalwarts who died. I've gotten there. I'll get you the name. A female. You understand? Abrateku. Yes. Everybody is there.
But some of the voices,
in the same hotel.
Some of the voices that we heard from agitations on the ground in the north at this said meeting,
I can tell
the agitations were that
extra work has gone on to ensure that whatever grievances and issues arose out of the parliamentary reshuffle have been addressed. The party is together on our campaign. There has been numerous occasions where President Mahama has even gone personally to the home of Haruna to spend time there and to ensure that we are clear in our mission and our vision in respect of what it is that we are looking for in the north. The NDC cannot afford division in the north.
Okay, so they have seen the letter.
We do so, and it will be suicidal for our campaign as a party.
Yes. So I've seen the letter you are talking about, and it was released. Okay, so the date is 15th of January.
Yeah.
Signed by Fifi Kwete, and it's entitled "NDC condemns attack on Northern Region Party Treasurer." So it says that the leadership of the National Democratic Congress has learned with shock and disappointment reports of a physical attack on the person of Hajia Shamima Yakubu, the Northern Region Treasurer of the party, by a regional party officer. The party condemns in the strongest possible terms this assault on the party official, resulting in the treatment at a hospital. The NDC takes a very serious view of the conduct of the party officer responsible for the assault, and at the next meeting of its functional executive committee meeting, measures will be taken to address the matter thoroughly, to leave no doubt in everyone's mind that the party does not approve of unlawful acts of assault and battery. The party wishes to also clarify that reports claiming that the incident happened in the presence of any national executive member of the party are inaccurate. There was nothing. There was not a single national executive member present at the meeting at which the regional treasurer was assaulted. The said party meeting was called to discuss campaign strategy and had nothing to do with any reconciliation account or alleged matters. The NDC wants to place on record its determination to ensure that all its members adhere strictly to the long cherished practices that have made our internal politics the enviable attraction of teeming millions of the people of Ghana, and from which we draw the confidence of being the next government in waiting. So yes, that statement is also signed by Fifi Kwete. So that's the statement you are talking about. Okay,
so to that, they issued the one suspending the man.
Okay, so the voices that we heard from our reportage indicated clearly that there were some people on the ground there in this particular meeting who were aggrieved with the happenings as far as Haruna is concerned.
It's not true.
And so that's the report that we got from people's voices. So it's not made by ourselves.
I can understand that some individual supporters have their own issues that they want to vent out sometimes without necessarily having consulted the very person who they allegedly are venting their spleen, or they are venting their woes about. This has not, I can tell you that Honorable Haruna Idrisu has not endorsed any such actions. He will not endorse any such actions because he knows and understands the importance of having a united front in the Northern region.
But he doesn't need to endorse them before they happen.
You see, the thing is,
they will happen anyway.
No, you see, the thing is this. When these things happen and you subtly or overtly indicate your disapproval of them, they die out. He has not even had the opportunity to even address this thing because it's not even crossed his mind. We've moved on way after the issues of the reshuffle. The parliamentary leadership is solid. You can see that even in recent times, the voting patterns, from the time when we could have a number of our MPs dissenting in certain votes, to the recent budget where we had the exact number we were expecting to vote against the budget. That shows that the lines, the whips are doing their work, and the parties, members of parliament are united in their voice when it comes to issues in parliament. The party is united, and no attempt should be made to create an impression that there is any division in the NDC in the Northern region. It will have dire consequences for our elections.
Okay, so Ama, the NDC obviously has some challenges in the Northern region. Nick Bako is running away from them. From where you sit, the MPP side of things, I know you will have some thoughts to share, but just before you do that, Maxwell is on Facebook, said, please, Wilberforce, I think truly Mr. Jantua is being quote-unquote cynical, because when President Akufo-Addo said he was in a hurry, didn't we see inflation drop from what was inherited in 2017, which was 15.5% to 7.4% in 2020? Didn't we see economic growth? It grew from 3.1% to 7% before COVID-19. Didn't we see interest rates dropped from 13% to 27%, from 13% to drop to 13% from 27% before COVID-19. Didn't we also witness the best exchange rate depreciation in this Fourth Republic before COVID-19? So what Mrs. Jantwa is talking, also what is Mrs. Jantwa talking about? So Mrs. Jantwa, Maxwell is saying that there is evidence to show that when President Akufo-Addo said he was in a hurry, he did do things that demonstrated that he was in a hurry. So Abdul Basit Muhammad comes again and says that Ni is suggesting that assault is no big deal because similar despicable acts have happened in other parties. He goes ahead trying to subtly justify the assault, claiming without evidence that it is an existing personal issue between the treasurer and the vice chair. Ni should also know that people abuse the word alleged or alleged unless they are at the receiving end. So that is Basit Mohammed's admonition to Unique People today about the comments that you made. Ama.
So what went wrong? What went wrong with all the indices and indications they give?
So they say
what
COVID-19.
What went wrong?
They say COVID-19.
COVID-19 has got to do with the loans that we took. Yeah? It's got to do with it.
So it says that when COVID came,
we were under
disrupted
an IMF. We could not afford to go below anything. We could not afford it.
No, by the time COVID came, we were off IMF.
Why couldn't we handle it?
No, Mr. Jantwa.
So why is it that it's all West Africa? Is Ghana that is going through the brunt? Why?
Oh, other African countries around us are having challenges. Nigeria is having challenges.
Did they not face COVID?
Ivory Coast is having challenges.
Did they not face COVID?
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Why is it that
Faso is having challenges?
Why is ours so serious? Why?
Maybe you are saying yours is serious, but perhaps they are also sitting in their country and saying theirs is more serious than ours.
When you compare,
okay.
Ours is much more serious than theirs.
Okay,
How come we haven't been able to get small food inflation down? Why?
Ama, I understand. Ama, so it's your turn. NDC internal matters. I hope you are not going to do me fear yourself.
Oh no.
Okay, all right.
Why will I do that? Especially when there's an assault on a woman. I don't know her, and but the fact that she's been able to rise through. I'm sure she went for an election to become a treasurer, a regional treasurer.
Is the treasurer position electable?
Yes.
Or it's a by appointment?
It's electable. Well, in the
it's electable.
It's electable.
Okay,
yes. So
all right.
She's gone through the process. She's been elected as a treasurer of a whole region of a political party. I mean, for me, when I see women doing that, it just tells me that there's hope for the future. But to have her vice, her colleague, chairman, assault her, it's not a pleasant situation. It doesn't matter that she's an NDC woman. She's a woman, and her presence in that setting opens doors for other women over the years. So anything that would put out the impression that women are not welcome in the political space and on the political table for discussions on campaign, because that's what they said they were going to have on their campaign strategy. Whatever it is that triggered the chairman to do that, I think we should all condemn it. It is. If it hasn't done it to even another man, it's not good. But to specifically do this to a woman, for me, it's a no-go area. It doesn't matter that it is an MPP or NDC matter. You should not do that. And when you see the pictures with the cat, it is not funny. If she were my auntie, my mother, my sister, I can bet you. These are the things that stop women from, families practically will stop a woman from going into politics because that woman was beaten up. So for me, as much as we will want to politicize it, of course it is politics, but it's not a good, how do I put it? The optics are not nice. It's not nice at all. You don't do this to anybody, much less to a woman. So the NDC has taken action on it, which I would have been shocked if they hadn't. I would have been on their case, but they have taken action. So let's see how it would end. But it still doesn't stop the fact that the NDC, obviously in the northern region, is in disarray. Total chaos. Total chaos. Of course, I am MPP. It is to my benefit. If they decide to kill each other, if they decide to put fire in their party, why not? But it tells us of all the issues that are happening to them internally. The only conclusion I can draw from this is the NDC up north is in disarray. And they are in disarray because they are not united up north. It doesn't matter what Ni will say. You guys are not united. And this whole crack is a self-inflicted crack. You guys decided to crack yourselves up. And the results are showing. It also shows and talks about the leadership abilities of Mr. Mahama. He comes from up north. He knows his party up north. He knows the dynamics up north. And by now, such things should not be coming from up north, from the NDC. Mr. Mahama's leadership up north, well, it's their party, so it's their cup of tea. The more they fight, the better for me. Just that when they are fighting, they should leave the women out. They shouldn't beat us, but they can continue to fight. No problem.
So, Ms. Jantua, there's a message here from someone on my WhatsApp who says that I have just returned from Nigeria. Their power supply is distressing, to say it mildly. My last 3 days in, I don't know whether it is Agege or how they pronounce that name, is Agege. Agege. Okay. My last 3 days in Agege witnessed an average of 15 power trips daily. And this is a comment by someone who has just been to Nigeria. I don't have permission to mention his name. If he gives me the permission, I will. He also says that the currency is never like it was before COVID-19. Fuel supply and prices are choking. And this is the comment that someone. So he's just making it a reference to the fact that I was saying other West African countries are also suffering post-COVID-19
Nigeria has
issues.
always had problems with electricity. Okay. It's not today.
Yeah, Ms. Jantua, you have 2 minutes to comment on the NDC.
When the others were, you didn't tell you have 2 minutes.
It's because of time.
Now you're telling me you have 2 minutes.
I'm very sorry, but I'm just.
And then you are reading somebody's question. You don't want me to comment about it. What kind of discrimination is that?
You
anyway,
comment
let's
about
go
it.
on.
Please comment about it.
I won't comment about it. Let's go on. Let's go on.
Yes. So the issues of
we should stop the propaganda. We should stop the propaganda. It is wrong for any man to raise his hand to assault a woman. It's wrong. It's wrong. So far as I'm concerned, it doesn't mean the NDC is in disarray in the north. Stop the propaganda. It's not helping anybody. This is an internal party matter. There could have happened that there was some, between the two of them, and the man couldn't take it anymore and decided to do what he did. So the NDC say they've taken it up. Let's see what comes out of it. It is when the results come out and you realize that they are playing politics with the results. That is where you then start questioning. But at this point, it's an assault. It's reported to the police, hasn't it? Let's see what happens.
The party has also taken action.
That's what I'm saying. They've taken action. They are delving into it. Let's see the results of it. What caused the altercation? What caused the assault? Let's take it from there. Let's stop the propaganda.
But I think your point is strongly made that it is unacceptable to attack a woman.
It's unacceptable to attack anybody. Politics has got to do with exchange of ideas. The fact that Nee says something I don't like doesn't mean that I walk around the table, look at him and slap him. The fact that Amma says something I don't like, no matter how much he attacks my person, I have no right to touch her. No right whatsoever. Exchange of ideas. Having people be saying things on
on Facebook.
Do I have the right to insult them? I don't have the right to insult them.
And we try to take away insults as much as we can.
I have the right to put my point across, but I don't have the right to insult anybody.
Okay.
So let's stop the propaganda.
So there's a last message from Kamal Dean, who says that the NDC is coming from a revolutionary route. So when it comes to violence, no one can beat us. And he says us. So I don't know whether he's part of the NDC. He says that JDM addressing audience. The revolution is at work. Okay, so he's quoting JDM. Okay, I understand, Kamal. So he says that the revolution is at work in the Northern Regional NDC camp. That's Kamal's. Thank you, Kamal, for your message. And then the last 2 messages I'll read as we end. Please, Ms. Jantua, Ghana's inflation is better than Ivory Coast, Togo, and Nigeria. Have you forgotten that Ivory Coast inflation jumped from 0.36% to 6.2% after COVID. Togo from 0.38% to 5.2%.
What is it today?
Now, do your own calculation if they are doing better than Ghana about inflation. So that's Maxwell's message to Mr. Jantua. And then there's Reko, who says that Mr. Jantua never disappoints. He's always finding a way to defend the party of his sister. Okay, so I don't know which party of his sister you are talking about.
Yeah, I'm a CPP man. I'm in the CPP. Is that my sister's party? because my sister was former general secretary. What party is he talking about?
I also don't know. He didn't
clarify.
make mention of the party. Yes,
clarify.
But that is the last message we are reading because our time is up. So this has been the forum for today, the 20th day of January 2024. And Nick Papo Samuel Ado, he is a managing partner, Ado and Ado Legal Attorneys. He's a lecturer at the Gempa Law Faculty and a member of the National Democratic Congress, a lawyer in private practice. Mr. Jantua is a lawyer. He is a member of the Convention People's Party, and the latest addition to his portfolio, he is a businessman who is helping businesses. Yes, I'm saying that the latest has been added to your portfolio.
That is what you know.
And then finally, Amma Deko is a member of the New Patriotic Party's National Communications Team and also a member of the campaign team of His Excellency the Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, who is the presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party. Today's show, we discussed the issue of the IMF approval of the second tranche of the IMF bailout. We also talked about John Mahama's quest for a honeymoon, and then lastly, we talk about the issues of NDC in the northern region. The show has been produced by Emmanuel Ohiming, ably assisted by Daniel. Yes.
November 24th to 2023. Inflation rate in Ivory Coast remain unchanged at 3.70% in November.
Okay, all right. So, and then the show has been produced by Emmanuel Ohiming, ably supported by Daniel Gatiglo. My name is Wilberforce Asari, and I was your host for today. Thank you very much for the privilege of your company.